Welcome, misfits, woohoo, to this night's episode of Skeptic Bible Study. Wizards, death, and priestly rules, because, you know, everyone loves rules.
Why not? Why not?
Why not?
More rules.
Tonight, God commands us to hunt. God commands us to hunt wizards or witches. Pew, pew.
Sounds serious.
Sounds serious. Super serial. Put gays and others to death. Because, you know, why not? Before we get 2 scoops of rules for priests.
2 scoops.
So come 2 scoops.
Only 2.
I know. You gotta get only 2. So come join James W. and myself, Amy Newman, as we get our Leviticus on.
Did you know there are people that scoff at the Bible? I deal with them on a regular...
Hello, everyone.
Fit into that category of scoffers. I think he would lump us in. Yeah, Ken. I think he would lump us in with that category. Yeah.
James, are you saying that God can and will be made fun of? I can't believe that.
It happens. It does happen. Yeah. It happens. Don't tell him about it. You probably get a little upset. He needs to stay
just this one. We're not mocking all the ones. Until now, tonight, mocking all the gods. Ha 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 ha.
All gods invited.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. But if you're feeling fancy, don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe. Plus, if you want to see our premieres or join our live streams, hit that reminder bell icon and set to all.
Do it.
Do
Probably
it, baby.
Did, but do it again anyway.
Do it to me twice. 2 scoops. And with that, we're going to hand it over to Gilbert to explain what we're about to read.
Hey, Gilbert.
Hi. Oh, I just noticed. Wait, hold on. We're going to have to do magic. I'm going to have to summon Gilbert with magic. Whoosh-a-day. Whoo. And whoosh-a-day.
Some of you may be new to this abomination of a study. These schmucks begin by reading each episode's chapters along with the annotations on the side for funsies. The hosts are a tiny bit special, so don't mind if they butcher or replace everybody's name with something completely horrible or stupid. However, the gibberish that spews forth from their face holes will still be an attempt at reading this book from cover to cover, which I'm sure has tons of wisdom or an insight on whether we can or cannot put things up our butt. If you have time to waste screaming internet memes at random strangers, then join the Discord. Or scream at them personally at your YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch streams. Finally, don't forget to support these idiots doing more lame shenanigans at Amy Newman's Patreon page. All right, schmucks, back to you.
Thank you, Gilbert.
Why, thank you, Gilbert. And that's right. If you'd like to help support the channel or more fun content, you can find our Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman, including awesome Patreons. We have to get the Avengers together, James.
Yeah. We got him.
Including awesome Patreons like K.O. Champ. Oh, God.
Yeah.
He can lift it, but it's hard.
Don't hurt yourself. Yeah, it's hard.
I know, exactly. But not only that, but Oz from the Atheist Roundtable and also Network Group.
The Atheist Frying Pan.
Exactly, frying pan. So we can connect all the atheists in a lovely glaze. But
sweet, savory.
Not only sweet and savory, exactly, just like the biblical commands. But also Ian Davenport.
Thank you, Ian.
Thank you so much, Ian. Humba. It's almost to scale. I think this is how much.
Yeah, you'll need to get a bigger one.
Yeah, I have to get a bigger one. That's what she said as well. Also, but not only that, but Diana Smith, the three princesses combined. Woohoo! Thank you so much, Diana. Woo-hoo. We got all the heathens. All right, but not only
of hell.
Exactly. And we've been going up against YouTube lately. They always fight me with it. But a grumpy old. You guys saw that, right?
Yeah, I think
1, 2, 3 test. Oh, a grumpy old.
The mods can put it in the chat. Or,
they always censor. I know. Yeah. The mods will link to what I try to explain. The Wikipedia article will go over it. But not only that.
Make it Titan.
Exactly. Titan, we got to get this right. But not only that, Pat, we are looking back in time and traveling across the country to look back in time.
He's probably over there right now.
I know. Sending love. Thank you so very much, Pat. I hold this more like I think a Pokemon trainer would, which is not the correct way.
Daytime over there now, so he might actually be getting up and ready to go for his dig.
I know, exactly. That would mean sweating. I might have to get the vapors. No. I like going out there. Woohoo! Sending love to Pat, but not only Pat. The whole skeptic clue. We're looking for clues. And the crew, the skeptic clue. I did it to myself twice. The whole skeptic crew. Dale Pastel.
Thank you, Dale.
Sending love, Dale. Woohoo! But not. We're all gathered. I think the atheists.
Who knows what she's got in that pipe, folks?
Meeting.
Who knows what's in there?
I know. Oh, baby, a good time. That's what I have. Okay. Anyway,
a 15-foot good time.
Oh, baby.
Right. Shout out to Ken.
Did you know Bar Marty? Oh, that last debate was so funny. He did shout out his series about a dozen times. He wasn't
at least.
He didn't argue the topic, but
not so much.
He did sell his DVD, folks. That's what you gotta do. Get that
DVD out there. Who is that? Standing for Truth real quickly did a video of Kent's the part where he very smugly is like so when Dan was like, "So you're saying that the water temperature was 72 during the whole flood?" And Kent's like, maybe 73 in a couple spots, but yeah, 72. Yeah.
Yeah, it was all like that. Also, I could build the boat. I could definitely build the boat. It doesn't matter if I was 600 years old. In fact, if I was 600 years old,
I know how to
that
do
would
it
make it better.
Easier to do, yeah.
Easier.
And they just took baby dinosaurs. Don't you see, Amy? It's so simple. They just took the baby Tyrannosaurus Rexes. But they all eat vegetables before then, so that's okay. They didn't eat,
They were vegetarians.
They were
I
vegetarian
forgot.
T-Rexes.
All of the animals were vegetarians.
The snakes were vegetarian, curl up to a little orange or whatever and just kind of swallow it whole. Can you imagine that? No, but
sure if you just turn the right side of your brain off and then the left side of your brain off, it starts to make sense.
Yeah.
But not only that, but the world. You mean the world to us. Dave Gar. Thank you so much, Dave Gar. Woohoo! And once again, I'm going to say it every episode until someone comes on to challenge us. Does that look round to you, James?
I mean,
it's funny.
It looks round. It looks round, but maybe if you close one eye so you're not getting any depth perception, it kind of looks flat. Yeah.
Right here. Maybe if I take a picture of it and then the picture is flat.
But its picture is flat. But Amy, I mean, it's just signals going to your brain. You don't even know that it's really in your hand, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
It could just be the Matrix. It could just be brains in a vat, and then really it all makes sense when you just make the ice globe. But not only are we ice globing, but the lead hyena.
Oh shit. Everybody run. He's coming, boys.
Scott, dude.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you so very much, Scott.
Yes. And we know Amy loves hyenas. You can't get enough of them.
I can't help it. In fact, the entire carnivore species, they kind of are amazing. Check out the entire branch. Everything from cats to dogs, all the way down to hyenas and seal pups.
According to the Bible, you're not allowed to have sex with any of them because that would make God mad.
Yeah, and you apparently needed an ancient book to tell you that and confirm that.
Right. I mean, because why not?
Because if not, I mean, all the Christians would be doing that, I think.
I'm sure Ken Hogan would be right now.
Why they have rules about it?
Chasing around a dog or a rabbit or in an aquarium with a whale.
Back in the time, you have to understand. Everybody. And the camels, right?
Incest is good.
Exactly. Well,
the
first 2 books, incest was Wincest, and it was Games of Thrones on. Yeah. But yes, the last chapter, they're like, all right,
they cut off enough incest.
Off the sprinkler.
Yeah.
But finally, last but certainly not least, thank you so very much, Regis.
Woo!
It's our lovely skull, which helps us shake every once in a while when the Bible isn't, doing a little murder and a little sexy time. Sexy time.
When it goes into Shakespeare
mode. It goes into Shakespeare mode. And all right. Sending love to the Patreons. You all make this content possible. However, if this is your first time at our Skeptic Bible Study, let's explain the categories so we can jump into tonight's chapters.
And then you can be an inner circle atheist.
An inner circle atheist without having to kill anyone. This is
normally
a quick, easy membership.
You have to kill a pastor, but we don't promote that. We don't promote that.
That. No, we
don't kill a pastor. Don't do it.
We're promoting love. Exactly.
Before we begin, I'm going to start by going over the specific Bible we'll be reading, along with some helpful category marks. Categories, you say? Why, yes, I do. You see, we're going to be reading from the Skeptic's Annotated Bible, an entire King James Bible lovingly fawned over by a skeptic who decided he would add his own notations. These are little flagpoles of sanity put in use to remind us that, hey, maybe slavery is evil, including categories like absurdity, injustice, and cruelty, but also a good amount of intolerance, contradictions, and conflicts with science or history. That doesn't mean it's not packed full of misogyny, false prophecy, and some questionable biblical family values. Now, we won't skip the good parts that the Bible has, only that these passages seem far fewer in number than any priest or pastor seems to suggest. So without further ado, won't you come join the Skeptic crew?
All right, ready to go.
Woo-hoo!
There are in there a few good things. We did have, I think, 2 good things in there last episode.
That is true. In fact,
I guess
previously, and welcome everyone with that to our Skeptic Bible Study. Previously on the last episode, God's sex laws and rules to live by. I'm getting too excited, baby. Here we go. We talked about.
You might see something poke up.
Oh my! Poke up, go down. It goes up around town. How about how and who we have permission to get down and dirty with?
Yeah.
Along with a giant mixed bag of rules, because why not? Everyone loves rules. In this episode,
Can't get enough of them.
Can't get enough of them. In fact, in this episode, wizards, death, and priestly rules. They like the pew-pews. Actually, we like the pew-pews, the Bible not so much. God commands us to hunt wizards or witches, put gays and others to death before we get 2 more scoops of rules for priests. So, how are you tonight, James?
Sounds amazing.
Are you ready to get your Leviticus on?
Oh, we are so almost done with Leviticus, and when we're done with it, I think we're going to miss it. We may want to just come back every once in a while because it's been such a fun ride so far through Leviticus. So many wonderful things. Yeah, wisdom. It's amazing how anybody could get through even one day of their life without a book like this. Yeah.
Woohoo! Well, it's sharing screen. Give me 1 second. I wanted to share window.
Oh, wrong one.
There we go.
There we go.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to the book of Leviticus, chapter 20, which means, we're almost out the other end. We'll be
XX.
through book 3.
Yeah.
Double
Not
X,
up to triple
baby.
X, but just double X. Yeah.
Not triple X, but it's okay. We aren't Vin Diesel, but that's okay. We are, though, into chapter 20, Moloch, familiar spirits and wizards. So half of a Harry Potter chapter. That's kind of cool. And all right, so what do we have on the menu? It's
Not
everyone's favorites, folks.
Not much. It's a light one today.
It's light, but it's a good mix, because where would the Bible be without a stabby and a good amount of violence?
We're talking about wizards, so I'm guessing somebody's gonna die.
Somebody's gonna die. Exactly. Well, what would the Bible be without somebody dying? But James, they're not being drowned. Remember that. God said he wouldn't drown anyone again. So that's always nice.
Not the whole world. He will still drown some people individually, but not the entire planet. Yeah.
Individually, like the Avatar movies. But
there you go.
Anyway, we have a good amount of not just violence, but where would it be if it wasn't unjust? Unjust violence. That's the best kind.
Be like going into the People's Court in Nazi Germany with Roland Freisler there.
Exactly. They having a good time. Just
Execute
ignore
them
all the
all.
terrible
Yeah.
things. Ugh,
Execute them all.
I know. Don't think about it. Just pull. And religion. They were downstairs. Now, I will say it's a mixed bag. Everyone fights over that. So I know our Christian friends will be like, "Oh, but Hitler was pagan." Okay, but that's still team theist. We're just saying. Though,
I mean,
we're still,
he certainly
we'll
used
let
the
you
veneer
decide
of religion.
in history.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a mixed bag. Everybody uses it's political, and they use religion, and so it's never a clean anything. But
You could
I
say
guess
Stalin
we
was
can.
an atheist.
I'm going,
He was.
James.
He was,
I'm going
but-
to make the bold statement on this channel. I am anti-Hitler. There we go. I think we can all come together tonight. Theist, anti-atheist.
We can, yeah.
We can.
We should
bold
be all
statements
able
tonight.
to. Yeah.
Exactly.
We should all be able to,
But not just violence, not just injustice. Family values, folks. The Bible loves their family values. Aren't they adorable? All of them. We're having a good
the
time.
Bible did just say not to burn your kids to the god Moloch, so I guess that's a positive
First
thing.
of all, how funny. When I first read this, when I was just flipping through chapters, I'm like, are we really talking about Moloch again? Like, it was just a throwaway name, and it made me giggle. But now he's calling out other gods. If you want proof more in the pudding that there's other gods in here, just look who fucking Yahweh is telling you about to not worship. Anyway, Moloch.
Don't remember Moloch was the head of the UFO demons from our Bob Larson. Aliens and witchcraft. Yeah.
Also,
he was the head
history,
of the UFOs.
right? This is a history book, so Moloch is history. Is that where we're going here?
Yeah. I guess,
Remember, though, the Bible, it's a unique category. The Bible is... shut your mouth, Bible. You're going to get us demonetized. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. It's talking naughty language. But not
like the time
just
when
naughty
Jesus threw out the money lenders, he demonetized the temple. Even though that story never really could have happened because there was a contingent of troops there on standby just to make sure that didn't happen. But it is a nice story.
Yes. Well, a lot of them. Another story I want to go over. Supposedly, I've never even read it, but I know Matt Dillahunty does a decomposition of the Sermon on the Mount, which supposedly has some good stuff and then some not as good stuff as people kind of advertise for. So I guess it's kind of have to go over that. But that's spoilers, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh. And I'm trying to look for my Bible. I'm gonna point to my copy of Hell.
I mean, we can just go straight into
I have to say
here.
it. I know, James. I don't think we've ever had this category before.
Which
hold on a second.
Category?
Yeah, I don't see it either. It's tinier than the
they're
other
ready
categories.
for us. They're ready for us to go in the chat. They're
ready.
They're sleeping out there.
Go. And it couldn't be, James. It couldn't be that there is a contradiction in the Bible. No.
I don't think so. Ken Hovind did say he's read it for 50 years and he's never found one in there. So we've been doing this for like a couple months. What are the odds we would find one?
I think we would have found one.
He's never found one that whole time. So
also, if there was a contradiction in the Bible, I feel like we would have come by this category before. You know what I mean?
I mean, that would be like saying there's a contradiction in math, like 1 + 1 is 2. Can't make that into a contradiction. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I just can't make it work. And all right, everyone, welcome to the book of Leviticus. Third book, baby. Chapter 20.
Almost
we
done.
are now almost done. We're going to put that onto the shelf and move on to 4. And there's 64, right? Oh, my Lord.
66, I thought.
But so much, or 66, so much trouble comes from just certain books. Like,
some were more troublesome than others.
I did not care. You couldn't find any wisdom At least in my opinion, if someone can tell me where the wisdom is in the first book or in a lot of Genesis, you can just eat it. But couldn't have that story narrative. Can't edit
Mostly
that
fake
narrative.
history. Yeah.
Anyway, chapter
You can't
20.
take one of those dukes out. We need all of them.
You need all dukes.
Except for Scott Duke.
Except for Scott Duke. He's the lead Duke, though.
But he's not in the Bible. He's not a biblical
not in the
Duke.
Bible. Exactly. Though, in fairness, he's real. So he kind of has that going.
Yeah, that's true.
But Moloch, I love that I get to say that, just like the alien demons thing. Familiar spirits and wizards.
Devil's got him working multiple jobs.
But remember, this is not fantasy. No.
Yeah.
Not fantasy.
He's got to be in charge of the alien demons and the witch. He's a busy man, Moloch. Devil really rides him hard.
Working hard. Look, he's just trying to feed his family.
Pushing puberty blockers out there, trying to get all the kids on him. Yeah.
That's how they work.
As many as possible, yeah.
It's that slow cultural Marxism. That's how he comes in. Okay. And moving on to villain. Oh, hey, Charlton, save us. Oh, Charlton has to. Okay. Anyway, and the Lord. Getting a little too hot, ladies and gentlemen, but it's late night, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be public access later. I know. Oh, baby. And the Lord, Bob, Spack, don't spray it, onto our friend Charlton Heston, saying, what did he say, baby? Again, thou shalt say to the children of Israel Shmishmael, a place that I'm sure will have no political turbulence at all ever, whosoever he be the children of Israel Shmishmael, or of the strangers that sojourn in Israel Shmishmael, that giveth, oh my, I like it when it gets hot, giveth any of his seed unto Moloch. Are they saying don't have
sacrifice your
Moloch?
kids.
I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't sacrifice your kids to Moloch. Yeah.
My mind went okay.
Anyway, don't sit there and jerk off on Moloch. That's not what they're talking about.
I was getting this.
Although that probably
got
would
too
sound hot to
exciting
you.
for me, and then it probably about death. It probably should have been sexier than it is. All right. Don't sacrifice your kids to a demon god. We have to tell you this? Don't sacrifice your kids to the demon god. Okay, anyway.
They did just tell us not to have sex with your kids or your parents, so that's, they had to come out and tell that. So God doesn't want to leave anything to chance. He wants to put it in baby terms.
But this also raises the question, if, we're just talking about rules that are common back in the day, was it common that people sacrifice their kids to Moloch?
It was something that was done,
common?
I think it was done in some cultures. I imagine some of them probably did at some point, or it wouldn't really be an issue. You didn't tell them not to sacrifice their kids to, I don't know, Zeus or Apollo. So it had to be something that was going on.
Apollo. Yeah. And it's not Loki, that damn trickster god. Oh, that lovable rude.
Don't sacrifice your kids to Amy. No, they didn't have to do that because nobody's doing that.
Wait, are you saying you can't sacrifice kids and then that undoes your bad deeds? That's not what the atheists do? That's not how they live immortally into the sunset, into the heat death of the universe?
Maybe that's what they do on Tart, but I've never heard of it.
Okay, they share the elixirs afterwards. I think that's what the Jewish space lizards and all that.
You have to die first, and then you get it. So
for reincarnation.
Did you sign the contract? Like, I will give you won't die, and I'll give you $1 billion after you're dead. But I promise, after you're dead, you won't really be dead. So you pay me now, then after you're dead, you get the reward. Makes sense, right?
That makes sense. One soul, mostly new. Right. There we go. Anyway,
And if you want, you can put in there that you can jerk off on Moloch if you want. If you want.
Holy moly! As long
You
as it's
can
not
actually do
leavened
that.
bread. All right.
Yeah. Praise God.
Praise God. That giveth any of his seed unto Moloch, a common thing of the day, he shall surely be put to death. That escalated quickly. The people of the land, how are we going to handle it? Our favorite method of death, baby. How do you want to judge people? Via stone. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. Well, that's good to know. Also, I
Stone
love that
him
sentence.
with
What are you supposed
cotton
to
balls.
stone him with?
Cotton balls.
Wait.
Crunched up pieces of paper. Empty cardboard boxes. Air.
Didn't work.
Empty single-use plastic bags. Empty water bottles. Oh, with Grandpa? You gonna weaponize Grandpa?
Grandpa.
You gonna weaponize
Ted Hovind
Grandpa?
went hard on that too. He keeps on. Give me $500. I'll give you $500. Let me teach your kids, and I'll teach them that they're teaching evolutionists, and that your grandfather was rocked. This is your grandfather right here.
Look! It says the Earth was rocky, and life came about. Therefore, that means life came from rocks. That's what evolution teaches, right? Yeah, there you go. Makes sense.
I don't want my tax stuff. You know what's funny? He also got called out by that doctor in the debate about taxes. He didn't say a goddamn word. He's like, your taxes aren't going to it. Kent was just like, anyway, about 15-foot whale. Anyway, we're moving on. The people of the land shall stone him with stones, in case you didn't forget what to do with the stones. And I will set my face against that man. I just want to stop right there. And we'll cut him off.
He's dead, so I don't think it. He's cut off, but he's dead, so.
Fine. Yeah. Thought it was going to be Yowie. From among his people, because he hath given of his seed unto Moloch. Once again, we're not talking cults. We're just talking about seed and sacrificing children to gods and yada. To defile my sanctuary and profane my holy name, which you have like 3. You call yourself jealous. That doesn't really sound holy.
I am that I am.
I am that I am. Kind of a tautology. What are you? I am that I am. Sir, just like a number 6, a number 5 with fries without the meal. All right.
Okay, and just type it in. I am that I am. Just put it in the computer.
That I am, and find a large.
Is that the last name? I am the first name that I am. Yeah.
Also, Yahweh. All these names aren't supposed to be with vowels. The Jews.
Somebody got Jehovah out of it.
Yeah, Jehovah. Can't write O. Don't know why. Just paying him respect. Have to wear hats.
Extra holy. Extra holy.
Extra holy. Exactly.
Yes. HLY if you take the O out.
HLY.
I don't know how that sound would go. I don't know.
And if the people, I don't know. They're supposed to. If you don't have consonants, yet somehow translations have or vowels or whatever it was. Somehow those vowels just found their way in. And if the people of the land, the people of the land, do any way hide their eyes from the man, hey, it rhymed, when he giveth his seed unto Moloch, and kill him not, I will cut off whoever refuses to stone him to death. Oh, nice. Along with their families, and those who go a-whoring after. I am so glad I read the annotations. And commit whoredom with Moloch. Don't commit whoredom with Moloch. That'd be terrible.
Amy, don't have sex with the statue. Stop doing it. Yeah. It's a rock, Amy.
It's a rock. It's just a rock.
Yeah. Stop fucking the rock.
Stop fucking the rock. Make it go bigger. Go so bigger. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This might do kidney damage. Anyway.
Amy, get the bat out of your...
Amy.
Yeah, please.
Well, this is really what Yahweh normally does. Yahweh's normally like, hey,
The mob boss.
you love me, right? Want to tell me how much you love me? Be nice. You love me. Because if you didn't love me, I don't know. Be a freaking shame, wouldn't it?
If I told you to kill your kid, would you? Would you do it?
Yeah,
if I
you
told
might
you
have to
to?
kill your kid. Might have to prove how much you love me. Isn't that funny? But it's not like you're gonna do it or anything. I'm not gonna make you do it, right? Or am I? Right? Yeah. I like to tease about killing your kid. I think.
It's
yeah,
fun.
I guess I do. Look at that.
It's fun. It's a
fun.
joke.
It's fun for the whole family, specifically. Anyway, so other gods. Oh, I read that. No wonder I read. It does say a whoring. I was like, is the annotations just putting it in there? No.
I thought
I was like, what the hell? And I
that.
just had to read it. Okay. Then I will set my face against that man and against his family, and I will cut him off, and all that go a whoring after him. Thank you, Bible. To commit whoredom with Moloch, specifically. You can commit whoredom with me, apparently, with Yahweh, from among their people. And the soul that turneth after such as have, wow. They once again, they don't want it to be a fantasy book, but this is a history book, James. A history book.
Yeah.
As
it
have
is.
familiar spirits.
Literal history.
Literal history.
Yep.
And after wizards, you're a wizard, Harry. And apparently you should run really fast because the Bible wants to.
Yeah. God's not totally down with that wizard.
Yeah, God
doesn't
isn't
like it.
really down with that.
Yeah.
So
Like it.
don't be a wizard or a whorin. A wizard, a whorin. To him specifically.
A whoring we shall go.
A whoring we shall go. A whoring we shall go. All around the Bible, a whoring we shall go. Except not to Moloch. Definitely not to Moloch. Or you're going to die. So yes. Sanctify yourself in front of that Lord, baby. And be ye holy. For I am the Lord, Bob, your goddess, Odd.
Or Bob Larson. One or the other. Yeah.
Or Bob Larson. Either, yes, at the commander level or the girl tape level. And ye shall keep my statutes and do them. Up the butt, preferably. I am the Lord, Bob, your goddess, Odd. Or did
Yeah,
I?
you read
I think
the.
I missed
Yeah,
that.
you went
I
back up.
mixed that together.
Yeah,
Don't
you went
mind
back
my
and read
brain.
the- yeah.
I am the Lord which sanctify you. Uh-oh. He's sanctifying. Okay. Be holy because I am God. Keep my statutes. I am the Lord.
I guess praise God. I mean, yeah.
Praise Jeebus. I will also, I got news from my computer. I should have my computer back on Monday. That should be at least the newest update because they're closed on the weekend. But then I'll have my lovely dual monitor. I'll be able to see comments. Again, though I will be able to see comments once we go into the open mic, which we will be going into at the end of this
Get your
chapter or two. We're going into fun stuff
back.
and then rules. And then if you disagree with anything that you have been reading here, you're like, you silly atheist. They don't get it right. They're reading it literally. You're not supposed to read it literally. You're supposed to actually take this chapter and then you flip it upside down and then you take this word and this word. And then when the number's right at midnight, which it is right now, that's when you're supposed to, it actually means the opposite. It's not that they drowned them for hate, it's he drowned them for love. You understand now, James?
It was an act of mercy.
It's
It
an act
was an
of
act of
mercy.
mercy and kindness.
They were all evil. Do you know how we know they were
Because
evil?
if he would have, if God would have let them live
Exactly.
longer, they would have done more stuff, and God would have to
Now
punish
you're
them
getting
harder
it. You
afterwards.
see, they
So,
were
yeah.
evil, and we know they were
Right.
evil because God told us they were evil. And why were they evil? Because God told us they were evil. It's not circular logic.
Even the babies sucking milk from their mother were being evil while they
Exactly.
did that.
They were evil babies.
That was an act of evil.
The fish were
Yeah.
evil. The birds were evil. All the animals were evil. The babies were
Right.
evil. Everyone was evil.
Everything was evil.
Everything was evil. They all had to go, except for our main man. That 600-year-old guy was just cruising along, ready for two of every animal. Millions and millions
Yeah.
of them.
Two of every dinosaur.
Two of every dinosaur.
Two of every
Two of every
dinosaur.
unicorn, just like we have today, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, I guess those died right after. They were probably had the misfortune of being right next to the tigers when God allowed them to start eating meat.
Oh my God! Well,
So the
it's
tigers
hard.
jumped right on the unicorn, and yeah.
James, it's hard to cultivate and handle millions of species, but you know how it is. And you know how easy it is to translate genetic DNA with just two of every animal.
The kangaroos, they hopped really fast, so they didn't get eaten on the way to Australia. God made land pop up, intermittently where the water was, so they could hop over there. Yeah.
Oh, so we had to do all this like really, really complex shit and not just like Thanos snap it because, he had to show off. You have to drown everybody. I mean,
well, you have to understand how this works, Amy. If you look at humans today and you look at like the things that they say we evolved from, I don't know, 3 million years ago, Australopithecus or, all these proto-humans. I mean, that's ridiculous. That is crazy to look at like Lucy or look at like one of the earlier Neanderthals and think we could be somehow related to them.
I know.
But if you have two generic cats and then they get off the ark, within 200 years, you could have tigers, lions, you could have domestic cats, you could have panthers, you could have all that could differentiate in just a few generations.
Exactly.
God made it so that the evolution would happen very rapidly.
Very rapidly.
Very rapid. He didn't have to have tigers and lions and all that. He just had two basic cats, and they differentiated that quick. But that doesn't happen today.
And honestly, James, have you ever seen a dolphin give birth to a tiger?
No, I mean, that's what you would expect from evolution, right? Because it's just random, right? It's random. How can randomness produce anything?
We should just be evolving gills all the time. Just going out there and becoming.
Wouldn't you like to have gills, Amy? Wouldn't it be nice to just go in the water and be able to breathe there and
mutate gills?
Wings? Wouldn't it be nice to fly, Amy?
Exactly. Though, you know what would be funny? To see an angel. Oh, but who are you? I mean, come on, angels. How about a demon? How about God?
Didn't they have that show, Touched by an Angel?
Touched by an Angel. Well, I have been. I've seen that on Pornhub, but that might be a little bit of a different.
You're an evil angel, Amy. I don't think you're an
evil
angel. I don't
angel.
think you're a
I'm
real
okay
angel.
with that. Yeah, well, spreading atheism throughout the world. And okay.
Get the rock.
Oh my goddess.
Get the rock.
Could I have even come up with a better section name?
No.
People who must be stoned or burned to death. It was such a happy first half of sentence. I was gonna be
So,
like,
I mean, these must be like the worst people in the world, like the most evil, depraved, the most barbaric people in the world that God is saying they have to be stoned and burned to death. So these are,
I know
keep in mind, it sounds very harsh, but they must be the worst
I
of the
feel
worst.
like these people will be the true barbarians that deserve to be stoned to death.
The most evil people you could ever imagine.
Evil people, yeah, exactly. So
People who would eat babies for breakfast and, just do all kinds of evil stuff.
So, with that in mind, this chapter
It must
couldn't be
violence,
anything without a little bit of violence.
but it
You
must
gotta
be
have a little bit of
justifiable
stabbing.
violence. It must be
A justifiable. Of course,
Must be.
it may be a little unjust, but I'm sure if you don't think about it,
Well, we'll call Judge Judy and let her.
we'll cut Judge Judy. She'll be able to give us an insight on it. Actually, I'm looking. He may have
You lost your
bounced
octopus?
away from me.
He escaped?
I know, my little octopus.
Your
But
octopusy.
that's okay. I'm gonna go like this. So we're gonna do intolerance. So this is a lovely thing from a Jewish. So I'm just gonna go like,
You're gonna turn yourself into an octopus?
I guess that was almost like a monster, but I'm trying to think what intolerant is. I guess an intolerant would be like
Praise I am.
Well, let's just say praise. If you'd like to come on here and just say who you really think the real Jews are. No. Praise, we love you. We love you. We love everybody. And man, they can have the real Jews. Anybody can have the real Jews. Take my parents. No, I love my parents.
Yeah, you gave up your Jewish card. He can have it.
I know. As long as I can have bacon and I can leaven my bread.
And
But
that whole part about laying with man from Leviticus. You're not very big on that one either.
Hey, I don't think the Bible would ever do that. Look,
you're not big on that rule.
That's never. Okay. Now, with that being said, welcome everyone. We are reading Leviticus chapter 20. Clearly, people, the death's doorstep people.
The worst of the worst.
Worst of the worst.
Yeah.
For everyone that curseth his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. He hath cursed his father or his mother, his blood shall be upon him.
Yeah. Okay, so starting off with children, okay, not quite the worst of the worst, but
not quite the worst of the worst. What happens if your parents aren't so, what's the word, kosher? But okay, death, that escalated. But hey, worst the worst, we got our stones ready. Whoever curses his father or mother must be put to death. No middle ground. It says death, ladies and gentlemen. Their blood shall be upon them. A little vampire-y, but we'll move on. And the man that committeth adultery. Got my stones ready. Ooh, there we go. See, I'm already stoning myself. Oh, I'm gonna.
You're already stoned, Amy.
Hey, baby. That's another man's wife. Even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife.
Even the neighbor's wife.
Even the neighbor's wife?
So, another man's wife, but even the neighbor's wife. That's taking it to a whole new level here.
That's taking it to a new level.
I mean, if you can't even have sex with your neighbor's wife, what's going on?
But I'm sure there'll be a case. They'll be able to explain themselves. With his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put.
But no, he left the house. He went to work, and then I went over there and fucked his wife. That's not cool. He wasn't
was
there.
A threesome. Does that?
No, he wasn't there. No.
No, I wasn't there. No. I'm sure everything will work out fine. Oh,
even Darth Dawkins.
Even Darth Dawkins. I know. Honestly, you got to be biblical, right? If
I
we're
mean,
being literalists, I feel like he's going to have to. No,
I did
no,
hear that
no,
he
no.
cheated on his wife, but I mean, I have a hard time imagining Darth doing something like that. I mean, just a
Yeah.
totally decent salt of the earth, just a guy who take the shirt off his back for anybody.
It would be, yeah, I feel like him, yeah, that would never happen to him. That
I
would
mean,
be,
that would be like a priest or a pastor, abusing a kid. That would be like so unthinkable.
that would be unthinkable. Anyway, the worst of the worst we're talking about tonight.
So
And the
we got
man, kids and adultery.
cheaters. Yeah.
Yes. Or, and just curses. No, someone who just curses their parents. And someone who is an adulteress. And the man that lieth with his father's wife, we're getting Games of Thrones, hath uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them shall be surely be put to death. Oh, I didn't know that's how that song ended.
Does
Their
that
blood.
count if it's your father's wife or your stepmom or if it's your real mom?
The real mom doesn't care. And if a man lie with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall be surely put to death. They have wrought confusion. Their blood shall be upon them. Lots
can't
of
have
blood.
any confusion.
Blood here. Can't have that confusion. Oh my.
I mean, imagine if there was confusion. You'd have like hundreds of different Christian denominations all disagreeing about everything.
You would have sex, kinky,
they
and
would
then
know,
they'd go to war.
Yeah, they wouldn't know what was right, left, up, or down. In fact, they'd probably spend centuries executing each other for disagreements about matters of faith.
Exactly. That'd be silly. A God wouldn't allow that. An omnipotent, all-powerful, all-knowing creator of the universe.
In fact, because we're told in the New Testament, Amy, that God would send the Holy Spirit, who also is God, but anyway, more about that later. You would send the Holy Spirit to teach his people all things. Now, did that say some things or most things, or it said all things? So that would mean that the Holy Spirit would lead them to some truth or all truth. All truth, right?
All truth.
All truth. Yeah,
so help you this God, I guess.
So yeah, so we know that there really can't be anything like that because
yes,
it's
but
not
not
biblical.
Moloch.
It's not biblical, no.
Not biblical. And no Moloch. Don't let me freaking catch you sacrificing your kids to Moloch. I saw you trying to sacrifice your kids to Moloch the other day. I was like, we had enough of that last year. All right? Come on. Not a repeat.
God says I'm not allowed to look the other way or I'll be cut off and my family and they'll be exiled and can't be.
Right, exactly. Can't have that. Okie dokie. Wrought confusion. And if a man also lie, oh my.
Back to this again, yeah.
If a man also lie with mankind, as he lieth with a woman, always a good way to start a sentence, both of them have committed their wonderful, it fits in their mouth word, have committed an abomination. Both of them. They shall surely get a judgment, get a good date, have a good time, be put to death. I know. Watching good things on Pornhub? No. No, everybody. Why is everyone got to be put to death? I guess that is the name of the chapter, but everybody got a die sale. Shall surely be put to death. Their blood.
It's yucky, Amy. It's yucky.
Yucky. Also.
Yuck. That's disgusting.
I think this is the doubling down, even though Shellfish had 3 chapters, but once again, their blood shall be upon them. Let me finish it as it was. It keeps on saying their
I
blood
mean,
shall be
it would
upon
actually
them.
be
But
upon the rocks after they're stoned, but I
I
guess
know.
upon them, yeah.
But just how much trouble has this? Is it a sentence? It really is like one because it keeps on
Yeah.
going. Sentence, a paragraph, however you want to look at it.
Edict.
This one thing. How many people have died? How many people have been
Thousands over
murdered
the years,
in
yeah. Thousands of people.
cold blood? Can't be edited. Can't be
No.
removed.
It can be ignored, and a lot of them do, which is good, but
Can be ignored. And yes, shout out to every metaphorical, liberal, scientific Christian Jew,
the cognitive
and
dissonance
I guess
is real.
Muslim or Jehovah's Witness, Mormon, whatever sect of anyone who wants to attach themselves to Yahweh, really. Thank you for ignoring this passage and not murdering your brothers, sisters, your children, your neighbor, the people that you work with in cold blood. Thank you for just rolling along and just, we read some good stuff. There was actually, where's my little, I had my little thumb up, my thumb. But thank you.
It's probably under you, Amy. You're probably
I know. So little. But we had some good stuff in the last Skeptic Bible Study, our last chapter.
Yep.
But
Incest
it's stuff
is
like
not
this.
good. That's a plus.
That's a plus. Yeah, like I said, it's basically like, don't lie, go kill gay people. Okay, yeah, about the latter half, about the killing my son who happens to be gay.
Yeah. Don't rape kids, don't rape animals, and kill gay people.
Oh, okay. I was the first 2. You said those quickly. I was like,
Those make sense. Yeah.
What was the last of the tail end there? It's like, no, you'll be fine. Here, stabby. It'll be fine. You'll be good. Then again, God does kill Aaron's sons right in front of him for strange fire. So should be used to killing your sons and daughters by now. Get over
Maybe
it.
that's a play on words. Maybe what it means is they were burning for each other.
Lord Kitty.
Yeah. Maybe that means that they were burning in lust for each other. The Bible does use that language before. I doubt that's what it's trying to imply, but it was so vague about strange fire. Maybe they were.
Yeah, especially to kill someone's children. I feel like strange fire. 2
of them, just poof, dead.
2?
Yeah.
And if a man take a wife... Yeah, moving on from the us just killing every LGBT person that we know. And if a man, or at least a good portion of them, and if a man take a wife and her mother, it is a wickedness. They shall be burnt with fire, both he and they. Let there be no wickedness among you. I'm sorry, once I hear wickedness.
I think that is specifically a threesome with a man, his wife, and her mother, bringing her into the bedroom too, which does sound very weird.
And her mother.
That sounds very strange.
Wickedness, they shall be burnt. If a man has sex with his wife and mother, burn to death all 3.
That's a very unusual and very specific type of threesome that's being banned there.
Very specific. And I'm not exactly pro incest, but I just wonder how they square the circle with Genesis, like how do you square Adam and Eve? How do you square Noah? I don't understand. Like, this is not good genetically. This is not good, but why are you? I don't know. Oh wait, this doesn't even have a contradiction. Well, it seems like an internal contradiction to me.
No. You see, Amy, like what they say. God made it so that the DNA at that time it wouldn't produce birth defects in Genesis. So they could interbreed and nothing bad would happen. No birth defects, nothing would go wrong.
That's
Just
right. We're
after
living
that
in a
flood.
post-flood.
Yeah.
Post-flood. How silly am I? There's something very
About the air,
special about killing everyone. How could
remember God's canopy, the ice shield, the ice dome that was in the sky that was 3 fingers thick, that made it so that Adam and Eve could have ran hundreds of miles without getting tired, we were told, because they had increased oxygen. So I mean, I guess theoretically, if you got an Olympic athlete and gave him like pure oxygen, he could just run for days without getting tired, I guess. I mean, I don't know. That's what Kent said.
Okay. And he was older. Older definitely makes you run faster and be able to build things easier. All right. So, killing the gays, killing Game of Thronesy. And if a man lie with a beast. Sorry, but we love. He shall. Oh my goddess! He shall. He shall surely be put to death, and ye shall slay the beast. But not you, Scott Duke. I was rubbing the hyena. We instead turned around in the Bible. Da, 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 and then we see high fives all around. And if a woman approach unto any beast and lie down there too, I'm guessing it's not going to be good. Thou shalt kill the woman and the beast. Wow, so Beauty and the Beast, that is not biblically sound. They shall surely be put to death. And no moon makes us high. Okay. Surely be put to death. Is there blood upon them? Oh, their blood is upon them. As you do.
The death penalty for animals, that's an unusual concept. I didn't really think they had...
Woman has sex with an animal, kill them both.
I don't really think animals could have intent like that to be punished, but okay.
Yeah, have to punish once again the goat as well.
Yeah, you got to kill the goat too.
Gotta burn everything to the ground. People whose nakedness should uncover... You shouldn't uncover, like Moses, apparently. We're moving onward with our family oh no, this is a family. No, this is not family values.
Grab the breast, Amy. Get the breast.
We just got rid of our family values. We have kinky. Kinky. We're talking sex. It's our breast buddy. Hi, breast buddy. But also family values, because the Bible likes telling us, how to be moral. We got to get our morality straight from the Bible.
I mean, it's got to come from somewhere, right? You can't just make it up.
No, you can't just make it up. How would we know not to push Granny out in front of a train if it wasn't for the Bible, right? But also... Okay, I'm going to go like this. But also feminism. Because the Bible knows how to put women in their place as property. Right? Because that's where, Oh, yep. Oh.
Did you know there are people that scoff at the Bible?
That scoff at the Bible? Are you telling me that women and men are equal?
Equal in what sense? As in both being human beings, as both being people? Beings
under the law? Oh my God.
I guess it depends on the context you're speaking of.
It does. I guess it's true. Like, what kind of animals or property are we talking about? Are really they
maybe technically in the same species as men? I don't know. I guess they can bring forth, so I guess technically, yeah, but
you're trying to make silly claims here if we're trying to say that women are people too. That would almost be like us not having slaves. Wouldn't that be kind of silly?
Which we're clearly told by the Bible
Clearly,
that
totally.
slavery would endure
Exactly.
forever. It'll be until the last days there will be slavery. It'll never end. So I mean,
Never
you
end.
can't,
And
you shouldn't even try.
it's a biblical endorsement. What's more sound than having a slave, than having your Jewish slaves over here and then gathering the heathens from around you, the nations around you specifically?
I mean, think of it as like a works program, an anti-poverty program.
Exactly.
Because there are
Keeping
people who are
up.
just not going to be able to take care of themselves. They don't know how to manage money. They're never going to be able to go out and get a job and pay their bills. It would be easier if they just had somebody who would use them for work and take care of all that stuff for them. Give them, a shack to live in, maybe two to
Exactly.
3 meals a day.
Honestly,
you know,
James,
work
they're doing them
15-hour days.
they're doing them a favor, right? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Doing them a favor.
Well, I mean, even in our context, look at slavery. You're like, yeah, we did go into foreign nations and we did kidnap people by force and we did bring them to a new land and we did force them to work and we did, lots of things like that. But we taught them Christianity, Amy. So guess what? They won't have to go to hell after they die. So therefore, yeah, the rest of their life here may suck, Amy, but at least they're not roasting forever in hell. So trust me, they'll be glad when they're in heaven. They'll be thanking you for going and kidnapping
scared.
them.
For a second, I thought we were doing something really terrible.
No.
I thought the transatlantic slave trade is nothing like biblical slavery. And like you were saying, we were doing them
Christianizing.
a favor. We were Christianizing them. So if you think about them, taking them away from their family and their loved ones and forcing them to do work endlessly.
In a foreign nation, It sounds harsh and cruel, but
it's really profitable. So there's that.
Well, I mean, we had to make it profitable to give people an economic incentive to do that. But at the end of the day, it's still for their benefit because they're being Christianized.
Exactly.
And if you actually look at the law,
the Lord.
So if you look at the law that the Virginia Assembly passed, I don't remember exactly what year it was. It was in the late 1600s. But before then, slavery was kind of a nebulous concept. They brought over indentured servants before that, and then once their indenture was up, it was just a bunch of bums like hanging around town. They didn't have nobody really wanted to pay them to work. There wasn't anything for them to do. So they said, well, wouldn't it be nice if we brought people over as indentured servants, but they don't work through their indenture. They're just indentured for life. So they passed a law that said anybody brought as a laborer who was not a Christian in their native land would be now considered a slave. So it was only for non-Christians. They did or Jews. They did exempt the Jews. They didn't enslave Jews. But if you were brought from another nation and you weren't a Christian when you were brought over, you were a slave for life. That's how they did it.
Wonderful.
So it was about Christianity. If you were a pagan or a Muslim or some other religion,
It's spreading the good news. Didn't you hear, James?
But if you were a Christian from Europe and you brought over, you worked your indenture, when that was over, they cut you loose according to the contract.
But we also have one last category, I think. I don't think we've ever had this before. All right. So I have to make a new bit. This is the first time we've ever had this, but I think the Bible may have a contradiction.
Gizmo? What about that? What do you think, Gizmo?
No.
Do you see
that's silly.
Do you see anything, Mo? He doesn't see it.
If the Bible had a contradiction, I feel like we would have found one or had something like this before.
Definitely. Right, Mo?
Definitely. All right. People whose nakedness you shouldn't uncover because everyone likes sexy time. And if a man shall take his sister, and it got Games of Thrones right off the bat, his father's daughter or his mother's daughter, and see her nakedness, and she see his nakedness, it is a wicked thing. We need to take a book. They shall be cut off in the sight of their people. He have uncovered his sister's nakedness. He shall bear his iniquity. If a man takes his sister, takes as in saying this, and sees her naked, and she sees him naked, it's a wicked thing. They shall be cut off. Now, I feel like we've been doing all these terrible, horrible people. It surely can't be. It has to continue the trend of truly horrible people. And if a man shall lie with a woman having her sickness, her sickness.
Cooties.
Yeah, her cooties that come once a month, and shall uncover her naked. You can so tell this was written by men. This is the second time we're dealing with menstruation. They can't even say it. They're like, what aisle is the sickness? And shall uncover her nakedness. He have discovered her fountain. Wow, did he? And she hath uncovered the fountain of her blood. And both of them
a fountain down there.
God, it keeps on flowing. Yeah, you didn't have sex with her like at the right time. I told you to go pokey pokey, and you did it. Now she has the sickness.
I mean, if they would just follow the Bible laws and she was pregnant all the time, then you wouldn't have to worry about that.
What happened is he had too much sex with the pool boy, and now after that is she now has the sickness. All right, and both of them shall be cut off from among their people, and thou shalt not uncover the naked. Oh wait, no, I want to get the annotations just so we're clear here, folks. If a man lies with a menstruating woman and uncovers her nakedness, he has discovered her fountain. I'm sorry, I just love how they describe it. And she has uncovered the fountain of youth, no, of blood from her vajayjay. Fountain of her blood. Both of them shall. Both of them. It's not even the lady. It's the lady and him. That's so funny.
Well, he got
I don't know why you're cutting off her to begin with, but I love how it's just like take the couple and yeet.
She's not clean anyway. She's supposed to be in a shack outside of the house.
Exactly.
She's bleeding. And it's yucky. It's gross, Amy. It's yucky. God doesn't like it.
But there's no air conditioning. Ew, get that sickness away. And thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister, nor of thy father's sister, for he uncovereth his near kin.
Okay.
They shall bear their iniquity.
So don't see your aunts naked. Okay. Probably don't want to anyway, but okay.
Yeah. Thank you once again for a big 2,000-year-old book to tell us. They shall bear their iniquity. And if a man lie with his uncle's wife, he hath uncovered his uncle's nakedness. They shall bear their sin. They shall die childless. What?
What about his uncle? It just says his uncle's wife. It doesn't say uncover his uncle.
I mean, I'm glad people aren't dying, but that's just a random threat from Yahweh. If a man shall not lie with his uncle's wife, that would uncover his uncle's nakedness. They shall die childless. Damn. Okay. Bro.
Like when Jesus killed the fig trees.
Wow. Yeah, it's a little weird. He killed the fig tree and then... Don't kill my fig trees, bro. I'm going to kill you. And if a man shall take his brother's wife, it is an unclean thing. He has uncovered his brother's nakedness. They shall be childless. Once again. All right. Do what God... Yeah, so...
Or he'll hate you.
Once again, a little bit random threats, but thanks to the God of love and truth over here, once again.
The Prince of Peace.
Do what God says, or he'll hate you. And holy moly, I don't think this has any categories. Hold on.
No. You could either, what would Jesus do, or what would God say? You can't
What
do
would
what
God
God
say?
would do. You know, God, he tells you to do a lot of things. I mean,
Tells you
he
so.
he kills a few people from time to time. You remember that whole thing about the flood and the genocide, and then Aaron Ra's
What's
kids.
a flood between
It's
friends?
okay because he's God. But when
Exactly.
humans do that, when humans commit genocide, that's bad. When God
I
does it, it's good.
know.
When humans do it, it's bad. Do what he
When
says,
I
not what he
commit
does.
genocide, the United Nations gets all throw missiles at me and shit. Whatever. Get over it. Anyway, do what God says or he'll hate you. And I hate to I feel like I've never had this happen before. We're going to have to create a new category.
Yeah.
This is the first
You come up
time
with
we've
that.
ever come across this.
I'll tell the story about Jesus killing the fig tree,
Yeah.
because that's a good idea of what
Exactly.
Jesus would do.
That's
He would
what
get,
Jesus
when
would do.
something's there to piss him off, like that fig tree, he gets mad. He does something, and he was yelling in that thing. It says he yelled because Jesus ran away from the disciples. He ran up to the tree to look for the fruits, and the disciples could hear
I
him.
will have
They
to say
heard
I run away to trees to look for fruits, or just
they
anywhere to
heard the
look for fruits.
conversation that Jesus was having with the tree. They heard it. That's how we know, because it's in the Bible, because Jesus didn't write anything, but there were people around him that did, and we know that that's true. But that's what Jesus would do. He would get pissed off and start yelling and cursing at things. And that's what we do too here. We get mad and we yell. That's what Jesus would do.
James, this
Not
is
what
his
God would do. We
teenage
don't
years.
flood the world. I mean, if you actually did what God would do, I mean, Amy would probably be carrying around cans of gasoline ready to douse anyone and light them on fire every time they did something bad, right? We don't do that.
Exactly. The Human Torch, or God, whatever you're going to call him.
Nero's Human Torches, yeah.
We have to do it. This is the first time, but there may actually be contradiction in the Bible.
Where?
I don't know.
Where?
This is our first time going over this category, so we're gonna have
Where?
to we're gonna have to prove it to us first. But
I mean, I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't think so. Ye, Kanye West, ye shall keep therefore all of my statutes and all of my judgments and do them, all of them, but be kind of really hot about it. I don't know. And that the land whither I bring you to dwell therein, spew you not out. Ooh, kinky. You spew on me, baby. And ye shall not walk in the manners of the nation, okay, which I cast out before you like a spell. For they committed all these things, and I didn't like it. And therefore I abhorred them.
Kind of like casting a fishing pole more than a spell, I think.
Okay, fine. Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just a shoe. Okay.
We got us a whopper. It's a good fish tail, which I imagine we're going to get to at some time with that whole thing about Jonah in the fish, which was a whale, because whales are fish.
It's not a whale. That would be ridiculous. A whale clearly getting eaten by a big fish makes scientific sense. Excuse me.
But whales are fish, Amy, in the Bible. Whales are fish.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. If it lives in the water, it's a fish. It doesn't matter if it breathes air or not. It's a fish. Like bats, they're clearly birds in the Bible, even though science comes along and says they're not really birds. But yeah.
Exactly. But don't look. No. This is a historical, scientific textbook, James. There's nothing wrong.
Scientifically accurate. Every single part of it. Every single part of it. Yeah.
And okay, I abhorred them, because to do that is God. But I have said unto you, ye shall inherit the land. Kanye West, you shall inherit the land. Really? Yes. Wow. Well, that was Owen Wilson. I'm mixing streams, but go watch Loki.
Even after the divorce, after he gets divorced, Steve?
Even after he gets the divorce, it's okay. Yeah. Though oh my God, Kanye with all the, look, I'm okay with having midlife crises, quarter life crises. Anytime you want to have it, go and have it. But one with the Christianity shit, Kanye, baby doll, please no. You can't do this to me with the Jesus. He was wearing this thing where it was like the white Jesus, like print mask on his face. I'm sorry, but
You don't see it yet?
can I bring up slavery right now? Now the Bible brings it up a lot. Why? He makes gospel music now. And look, shout out to Kanye West for his music. Some of his music is actually decent. So I'm not hating on some of his music. But this whole
Religion,
I don't know.
shtick.
The whole midlife crisis and finding God shtick. Oh my God. I mean, it happens, but it's not as original as I think Kanye, who was supposed to be, crazy. I'm so crazy. I'm so innovative. But then
He's crazy
the zombie
who is
Jesus
that?
guy who kind of said slaves obey their masters.
Who's he crazy like? Who's that guy? The guy, who am I thinking of? 2.5 Men. Charlie
Oh
Sheen. There you
yeah.
go. Charlie
No,
Sheen.
he
Crazy
is.
like
It is not to go political, but there are specific people that come to mind, both Charlie Sheen and Cheetos and anybody that I'm thinking of. They're just crazy. They're just crazy. That's who they are as people. And oh man, it's just even worse with religion. Can you imagine? It would be like the Cheeto or you just said his name, or Charlie Sheen going full on evangelical. It would be. I just don't want it. It'd be even worse. It'd be that. I'll take the reality TV show.
I mean, it was a lot when it came
give
out.
me the
It was
Kardashians at that point.
It was like, well, this is probably like 8 years ago when it came out that he was when he was married and he was having not tranny, but you know what I mean, the transgender prostitutes coming over. That's the term they used at the time, that he was enjoying himself with the transgender prostitutes.
Wait, who was this?
Charlie Sheen.
Really?
Like
I did not know that
came out when he
Sheen.
announced that he had AIDS.
When
he came out with that,
well,
then
I'm
they said
so sorry that you got it through that, but I
don't know
hope
if he
you
did
have a good time. I am endorsing. Remember, that's the girl dick level.
Yeah.
But moving along.
Maybe you'll get a call from him. Maybe Charlie will want to hook up.
Maybe Charlie, Kanye West, baby, trade in the Jesus for the girl dick. It's a good combo. But I have said unto ye shall inherit the land, because I like giving land to people. That will definitely not cause any problems. And I will give it unto you to possess it, a land that floweth with milk and honey. Shout out to our early Bible Skeptic Bible Study, the land flowing of milk and honey. I am the Lord, Bob, your goddess, Odd, which have separated you from other people. That'll also not cause any problems. Just good old tribalism. I just like to pick favorites. Ye shall therefore put difference between, I almost thought it said breasts. I wanted it to. Between clean beasts and unclean. Between unclean fowls and clean. And yeet shall not make your souls abominable by beasts, or by fowl, or by any manner of living that creepeth. High brain bug, you can creep us on us any time of the week. On the ground, which I have separated from you as unclean. And ye shall be holy unto me. Oh, is that what you call it? For I, the Lord, Bob, am holy, and have severed you from other people, because that totally won't start problems. That
Totally.
ye should be mine. I've been thinking about this whole chosen people thing a lot recently, and let me tell you, here's some good advice, folks. If a God ever chooses you as your chosen people, as their prophet, as your anything, just say no. I know it's hard. It's hard for me to say no, but just say no. That God is gonna. A lot of people are gonna die.
But I mean,
A
Amy,
lot of people.
what if somebody just came up to you and says, "Hey, I know that you live here, and I know that you think this land belongs to you, but actually, God gave it to me like a few thousand years ago. So you're on my property. So I'm going to
True.
have to charge you with back rent for, I don't know, how long have you been living there? We'll say 10,000 a month for however long you've been there, and you can pay that over to me because it's mine. God gave it to me.
And
I
I love
mean,
that
if
excuse.
you don't like it,
I
talk to
try
God.
and take
Go
no
complain to him about it.
sides in the between the Israeli-Palestine thing, because I think it both comes down to something very simple: religion, folks. What the
Yeah.
fuck, religion? If your God promises you land, once again, just say no.
I mean, it's like
Not
the
a
only
good.
land in the Middle East that doesn't have oil. It's like still kind of without religion.
I
It's kind of a
know
silly
they
thing to be
fight
fighting
over
over. Yeah.
fucking desert. It's not Arizona. It's not Florida. There's no Disney World. There's no happy time in that warm weather. But sure, take it. Have endless wars forever for it. We're gonna be over here, and I'm gonna be sipping margaritas. Anyway,
And our defense
familiar.
contractors will be selling weapons to both sides, so it works out,
I
right?
know. Don't even get me started.
Yeah.
Hey, look, we can find freedom in the funniest places, James. Sometimes you find freedom underground. Sometimes you find freedom on one
With
side.
a
Sometimes you freedom on
familiar
another side.
spirit, like
Sometimes you find freedom on both sides.
Captain
And
Morgan or Beefeater Gin or
yes,
Prusser's gunpowder proof rum, which is really good.
now it wouldn't be a wizarding chapter unless they doubled down on fuck wizards. So, not only that, but women.
Fuck wizards, like
I
like
wish. I
you're
wish it was
oh,
the good kind.
like Amy with Harry Potter. I mean,
Not only that, but if you thought that it was the women that you get off easy, they're just doing wizards. Oh no, ladies and gentlemen. Familiar spirits again.
fuck the wizards too.
Fuck the wizards. We're starting with violence. But not only violence, it's unjust. Gotta keep it in just. I love my violent injustice. Oh, but you have to get a little bit evil. Gotta put your white hood on, and you gotta burn a cross on the lawn. Because it's intolerant, folks. Why would we want to be tolerant of other cultures? Other cultures.
I mean, they could just stop being them and they can adopt our culture, right? That would be easier.
Exactly. You know what's funny? I share my culture with them. They share their culture with me, and then I burn them to death. It's funny how that works. Oh my God, I love sharing.
Because
Sharing
our
is
culture, we have the real God, the real one. He's with us.
exactly.
They don't have that, so therefore they're inferior.
Exactly. It's not actually painful. It's not actually evil because we have the real God. But women, we're knowing our place tonight, all through the corner, because like I said, this one little section
Get in the
includes
cupboard.
everybody. Oh,
You
and
can sleep in the cupboard.
And that completes.
Yep. And we're almost done. We're ready to go on to the next chapter. We just finished this.
I think that's the
one
next.
up. Yeah.
It's like the next. Oh my! What the?
So.
Okay. We're gonna have to probably put a warning, spoiler on the description. This actually is the first time that this has happened to us, so I don't know what to do. But There may actually be a contradiction in the Bible.
No, come on.
I don't know what we'll put a highlight since this is the first time of me coming across this, but we'll figure that out.
The Bible tells us.
That's right, folks. Some people tell us. Some people tell us things, but that's right. Familiar spirits again. Leviticus chapter 20. A man also, or woman. Oh man, don't you feel we finally got our
probably
equality.
Read it as "Whoa, man."
Whoa, man. A man also or woman that hath a familiar spirit, or that is a wizard, something that happens back then, shall surely be put to hugs, to orgy, to death. They shall stone them with stones. I thought it was going to be a different kind of stoning. No, they meant that a little bit too literally. Their blood shall be upon them. Yeah, from the stones.
The blood will be on the stones, yeah.
And okay, holy
Wow.
moly, it's been a fun-filled chapter. And with that, we are having our... What
a lot
do you
of
think,
death in that
James?
chapter. A lot of death. A lot of stoning. A lot of killing, yeah.
A lot of killing. Yeah, it seemed like a little bit too much killing, and it seems like a bunch of gays and women and people died.
People who fuck animals. The animals themselves, apparently, they're culpable too.
Mm-hmm.
So, when Kent Hovind shoves that gerbil in his rectum, I guess the gerbil is bad too. He has to die too.
Exactly. The gerbil has to die. That was an amazing episode. I forget what that gerbil's called. They had a song. We are moving to the book of Leviticus, chapter 21. I'm tempted. I'm going back and forth whether we should split the priest rules into two. But we're definitely at least reading God's rules for priests. So we're going to move into this chapter. And then maybe we'll open up for some open mic fun, because that should push it into...
I think we could just skip through this one real quick.
Well, we're having fun. We're almost doing through Leviticus. Let's take a peek into our guide here. Leviticus only has... We only got up to 27. Woohoo! And then we will be done with the book of Leviticus, putting it on the shelf. And I want to, let's say hi to everybody in chat. Woohoo! Hello,
Woo-hoo.
Doorknob Head, Reservoir Gwar, Skywatcher, Wild Eden, Best in Show. Stripper Liquor, Amaretto, Doorknob Head.
We got the whole crew in there tonight. Wow.
Tony D. We got
Friday night. Everybody's
crew. Up. Randolph.
Randolph was watching him build his set earlier today.
Woo-hoo.
On Nick's stream. Yeah, we got to watch Randolph build his set.
I know. And that is exciting because he is going to be hosting a show with Neil, the 604 Atheist. And so shouting his love out to Neil, sending shout outs to the Tart crew and Randolph and all of the lovely non-believers out there. And all right, we promised some helping scooping of more rules, because who doesn't like rules? God's rules for priests.
Especially the priests, yeah. Oh boy, here we go.
And once we go into the open mic, I'll be sending the link into chat, and I'll also be able to see your comments again, and you could send me love or your thought bubbles to be read on screen at Amy Newman. And all right, ladies and gentlemen, the book of Leviticus chapter 21. Clearly, we've been finding so much wisdom. I can't help but
I could just
wonder,
tell this one is going to be amazing. This is going
it's
to
a
be
buffet.
Yeah.
God's rules for priests. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, when you're thinking of the Bible, you gotta have a lovely laugh. That's what I think of when I think of the Bible is having a good living in their bubble. No. They don't live in a bubble. They join our live stream.
A sausage fest?
Thank you, Theus. That's right. But it's a hot sausage fest.
You're okay with that. Yeah, you should bring the sausage to Amy. She's ready.
Bring that sausage, baby. And all right. But we are still putting women in their place. Me? No. Biblically accurate. Putting women right down there where they belong. And you know why? Funny enough, because it's violent.
Oh.
Hada, hada, ha, 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 ha. Chop, chop, chop.
Ken Hovind knows. He knows how to put women. His wives, they don't ask too many questions, or
Yeah, don't ask questions.
He'll just tell them to put on something cute and go in the kitchen, make me a sandwich, honey, or something. Because don't worry about the taxes and the finances, because it's on me. Nothing's gonna happen to you. Yeah, my first she went to jail, but
excuse
don't worry
me
about that.
I am a taxivist. Okay. We don't leaven bread in this house, and we think that taxes are, I was going to say, are smaxes, but that doesn't really rhyme. Yeah. So taxes are it's a scam.
So when Jesus said, "Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's," he didn't mean me. Mm-hmm. I'll pay the Caesar, but I'm not going to pay the federal government. I'll pay mine to Caesar. I mean, look at it. Look at this bill. Ben Franklin on here. Ben Franklin. I'll give it to him if he comes and asks for it, but I'm not giving it to Biden.
Yes, that's right. I'm the CIA. What's that? No. Oh, stand down. Okay. No. Okay, stand down, CIA. Okay, sorry. No. FBI. No. Okay. Yes. No. We paid. That's fine. Don't want my taxes. And buy my DVD. God's rules for priests as we're moving along. Also, some injustice. Because when you're building that mix, you can't just laugh. You can't just have some feminism or some violence. It's really got to be injustice. And you got to invite the whole family, folks. The whole family is invited for the injustice. Wow.
It would be a great business opportunity to go back in time and be a rock dealer back then. I mean, when everybody that needs to be stoned, they got to come to you for all the rocks. So, yeah, you corner that market, you make a
trying to figure out how to smoke this.
You'll figure it out. If you were 600, you'd figure it out. But
yeah. If I was 600, I would understand. But not just family values. How do you make family values if not for sexy time? Pop out the kids. Because who hells knows? They don't cost money or anything. You'll be fine. Just keep having babies. Condoms are the devil.
God said he takes care of the birds in the sky. He makes sure they have food. So don't you worry about it. God will take care of it.
Yeah, God will take care of it.
He takes care of the birds.
In the end.
What are you worried about, right?
Yes, just 12, 13, 14. You're really making
29,
one of the Lord's children. 29. Keep on counting. Oh my goddess. But also, we're putting on our hoods because why can't it just be family values and a good amount of violence, sex, and feminism? Language. God. Literally. They're God anyway.
Cancel culture applied to God. It's really disgusting.
And I also wouldn't be redundant. I wouldn't want to beat a dead horse, and I wouldn't want to be corny. But that being said, I think this might be the first time we've ever done this. I don't know if might have to put something in
We'll
the
just put some
description.
lube on it, some KY on the
Some
top,
lube.
and then
Exactly. We may have to really rub it hard because James, I think there could be a contradiction in the Bible.
seriously.
What? And all right.
Ask Titan
What's
Uranus
that?
about that. He'll know. He'll know.
Yeah.
Talk to
The
him about
mods will
that.
know. Titan, Robert, Grumpy. We're sending love to our mods.
Where's the Catholic tradition? He'll tell you it's not true.
God. We're going to tell you, yeah. Catholic traditionalists, if you're loving. If you're loving. Actually, no. Not even going to say that. Boot to fuck us, Newman. Fuck us. And the Lord Bob said unto who? Said unto our friend Charlton Heston, speak unto the priest class from EverQuest or World of Warcraft. The sons of Aaron Ra, you know, that guy you killed,
alive.
all his sons. Yeah, you burned them in front of him. And say unto them, there shall be none be defiled for the dead among his people.
Okay.
But for his kin that is near unto him, that is, for his mother, the queen of all dragons, and for his father, and for his son, and for his, just say his family, and for his daughter, and for his brother, and for his second cousin, twice removed, but only on Tuesdays. And, and for his sister, a virgin. They have this obsession again.
What if she's not a virgin? Then she doesn't
What if
count?
she's not a virgin? Yeet. That is nigh unto them, which hath had no husband. Why that matters, no one knows. For he may be defiled. But he shall not defile himself, being a chief. Chief from Halo? Wow. A man. They're calling him an alpha. Be an alpha. You gotta be a real alpha. Isn't Destiny a girl's name? Among his people to profane himself.
Be a John Maddox.
Exactly.
Alpha Chad.
A big little peepee. An alpha Chad. God said to Moses, say this to the priest. Snap, snap, snap. The sons of Aaron who are left. None of you shall defile yourself for dead people.
Not the ones you swept up in that dustpan.
That damn strange fire. Except for your mother, father, son, daughter, brother, and sister, if she's an unmarried virgin. For them you may be defiled. Okie dokie. Good for you. They shall not make baldness upon their head, neither shall they shave off the corners of their beard. Oh my God, that's why we get these goddamn Orthodox Jews looking like they are. Nor make any cuttings in their flesh. Don't shave your head round the corner of your beard or make the cuttings in your flesh. But it was a hard time. I was going through some time. Okay, they shall be holy unto their God, and not profane the name of their God. For the offerings of the Lord Bob, very specifically, who likes to make demands, made by fire and brimstone and bread. Their God. They do offer, therefore they shall be holy and ever and ever. Oh boy, I get to say fun stuff. Here we go.
Yep.
I know. They shall not take a wife that is a whore. You gotta say it like
that's
Bill
one
Burr.
who goes a whoring around.
A whoring around or profane. Don't be profane. Don't be profane or a whore or a profane whore. Neither shall they take a woman put away from her husband, for he is holy unto his God is odd. Don't marry a whore or a divorced woman. Wow. Just think about all of this goddamn apologists that we talk to every goddamn day. So I would like all of the apologists to now deconvert because you're unbiblical and come to our side now. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you. Can't even think of any of them. Like I'm thinking of the Rolodex of any of
Doesn't
the people we
apply to
talk
doesn't
to.
apply to them. I mean,
Which I'm not hating on. I'm not hating on at all because you shouldn't be judged for that shit. But apparently, Bible. But you silly atheists, you can't take it literally. Us fundamentalists take more of a metaphorical approach. Wait. We're actually quite postmodernists, us evangelicals. You
Ken
know,
Ovid, he
God
used
is
to,
a
yeah.
man and a woman, but really a man. So just
Ken Ovid, you used to talk about the evils of divorce and remarriage when he had been happily married for,
What
you
on
know,
wife
20 some
one?
years. Then
Yeah.
as soon as his wife went away, what did I say? Well, hey, the wife leaves. Hey, what are you going to do? You can't be
About
alone
that,
forever.
honestly,
Yeah.
you gotta have like contextual relationship with the
Be
Bible.
merciful.
It's the inspired word of God,
It's not
but
good for the
only the
man to be alone.
paragraphs that I read.
That doesn't mean I have to be alone for the rest of my life. And I mean, why would I want to be alone, be lonely
True.
forever? That doesn't apply to me.
Exactly. That doesn't apply to me. The other ones, like the 10 Commandments and all this shit, we play the top 10. Come on. Gotta do the top 10.
Now he's looking for, I think, wife number 4. Yeah.
Ooh. We wish you luck, Kent. We want you to come on the podcast. Come on.
Come on
Sell
in.
us your seminar. We'll buy your DVD. We'll come to Dinosaur Adventureland eventually. James, that is definitely on the list. Oh, man.
With Aaron
All
Ra.
right. With Aaron
That
Ra,
would be my
baby.
dream, to bring Aaron Ra there, just to see the look on Kent's face when he saw Aaron Ra.
His
In
nemesis. Dun, dun, dun. And all right, thou shalt sanctify him, therefore he offereth bread, for some reason, of thy goddess. He shall be holy
bread
unto
or
thee.
unleavened?
No, don't let me see you leaven that bread. For I, the Lord Bob, which sanctify you, I'm kind of like a big deal and holy and shit. And the daughter of any priest, once again, kind of oddly specific, if she profane her, I know it's rules for priests, but it's just going over the whole family. Okay. If she profane herself by playing the whore, I also become Bill Burr at midnight. She profane her father, she shall be burnt with fire. Okie dokie. If your daughter plays the
to the
whore,
extreme there.
burn her to death. Burn her to death. And he is the high priest, not even the good kind, among his brethren, upon whose head the anointing oil he had to get from Walgreens, but it's still pretty good, was poured. And that is consecrated to put on the garments, because once again, God kind of has a
Consecrate
thing for
me,
clothes.
Amy. Do it.
Consecrate me, baby. Shall not uncover his head. Oh, okay. Well, where are we putting this oil again? Nor rend his clothes. Whatever you're into. Neither shall he go to any dead body. Dude, we really have to put this okie dokie. Nor defile himself for his father or for his mother.
Yeah. Do not have sex with a dead body. It's in the Bible. There you go.
It's in the Bible, folks. It's history. Neither shall he go out of the sanctuary, nor profane the sanctuary of his goddess.
God sees you snooping around the morgue. God will be very sad with you.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
You trying to fuck a dead body? What?
Trying to fuck a dead body?
I'll burn you.
Fuck us. I'll burn you. I'll burn you like those last two guys. Sun. Fucking Strange Fire. Did I say I like Strange Fire? Actually, you didn't talk about. See, there we go. Solves all problems. Anyway, so we're putting on our anointed oil, and he shall take a wife in her virginity. Look at that. I don't have to even make fun of that sentence. A widow or a divorced woman or profane or an harlot. These shall he not take, but he shall take a 40-year-old virgin. Okay. Of his own, people to be wife. Any woman that you marry must be a virgin, because I'm kind of like obsessed with that kind of thing.
Yeah. So then
You
if your
may-
wife dies and you're in your 40s or 50s, you still have to marry another
You have to do a
virgin.
virgin hunt. You have to literally do a virgin hunt.
So you're probably going to end up with somebody that's underage, but I guess it's okay because the Bible
God
says that's
approved.
the only, I mean, 13, 14, but at least she's a virgin. That's
Would you have to? I don't know what you even have to do. What happens if you found out she wasn't? That makes the whole Mary Magdalene thing very little suspect.
They should probably
the whole Christian
douse
thing
each other in gasoline and burn them
making
both.
sense. Yeah, I should just burn everybody. That'll make sense.
When in doubt, just to be safe, just burn everybody.
Burn them out. Exactly. Okay, neither shall he go out of the sanctuary. Not even going to make it out of the sanctuary, nor profane the sanctuary of his goddess, for the ice crown of the anointing oil that we bought from Walgreens of his goddess is upon him. I am the Lord Bob. And he shall take a wife in her virginity.
Yeah. You read
right.
that one.
I don't have to.
Oh, no, it says it again. Okay. Huh?
No, I was going to say, sometimes it's me, sometimes it's the Bible.
Yeah,
a widow or a divorced woman or profane or an harlot. Oh, no, I did read that.
You'd read that. Yeah.
But it's a wonderful sentence. What can I say? Neither shall he profane his seed among his people. For I, obsessed with seed, for I, the Lord Bob, do sanctify him.
That's a seed on your face there. Seed on your face?
Heat on my face. Do it right on my face, baby. Oh, get that seed all over my face. It's God's seed, though, so it's holy. And the Lord Bob spak, or at least that's what, when we don't have anointing oil, that's what we do. On to Moses, Charlton Heston, saying, speak on to Aaron Ra. See if he's having his Quran study. Saying, whosoever he be of thy seed in their generations, always love it when you talk about generations, that can always go well, that have any blemish, let him not approach to offer the bread of his God.
Okay.
Okay. For whatsoever man he be that have a blemish, he shall not approach a blind man. Okay.
Not that the blind man could see if he had a blemish, but okay.
Or a lame. Don't visit someone lame. Or he that hath a flat nose. What? Or anything superfluous. Or a man that is broken-footed, or broken-handed. Ow. Or crookbat, or a dwarf. Wow. You're just getting a little you were prejudiced before, but now you're getting very specifically prejudiced, but okay. Or that have a blemish in his eye, or you just hate everyone that's disabled. We get it. Or that has I shouldn't even say disabled, that is basically just not a human that has just come out of a uterus, because what the fuck?
Anybody who's not in peak physical condition.
Yeah. His eye, or be scurvy, or scathed, or a little scrape on their knees, or a bruise, or Jesus Christ, or they have insurance, or has his stones broken. What? Or a urinary tract infection.
His balls, his testicles. If he has an injury to the ball sack.
Injury to his ball sack. Really?
I mean, man.
I'm going to go through the list.
Like, hey, nice to meet you, but can I see your ball sack to make sure there's no issues down there?
Gotta.
We have to check. I have to check.
Just
the word of God.
Check. It's for God. It's for Yahweh.
The word of God. You can't change it.
Yes, the word of God. No man that have a blemish of his seed of Aaron Ra, the priest, shall come nigh to offer the offerings. I like to add in my own comments sometimes. Of the Lord Bob, made by fire and brimstone. He hath a blemish. Gotta throw that shit out. He shall not come nigh to offer the
I
bread.
guess if his balls are broken, I guess he won't
If
be
his
coming.
balls are broken and it's unleavened, don't let me see that fucking unleavened bread. That bread rises, we will cut your friggin' head off. And I don't even know which type of head I'm talking about because it's the Bible. To offer the bread of his God, he shall eat the bread. Oh, I see. I did see this one on Pornhub. Bread of his goddess, both of the most holy and of the holy. Of the most holy and the holy? Doesn't most holy cover and the holy? Whatever. Redundantly redundant, as the Bible is, as always. Only he shall not go on to the veil. Oh, I've seen this. Thank you, George R. Martin. Nor come nigh unto the altar, because he hath a blemish, that he profane not my sanctuaries, for I, the Lord Bob, do sanctify him. And Moses said unto Aaron Ra, and to his sons, the ones that were left, and unto all the children of Israel Shmishmael, which are apparently just behind us, just chilling. All right, let's look at this list. God says to Moses, say to Aaron, any man with a blemish, or is blind, or is lame, or is short, or has a flat nose, or has damaged testicles, or broken hands or feet, or a crooked back, or has scurvy or scabs, or has anything superfluous, must not approach my altar. What a bitch. What the...
Yeah.
Dude, you're a god. You're the almighty creator of the universe.
Yeah,
you
you're
have
too
this
short.
much problem with women who bleed out their vajayjays, which is all of them, by the way, and or almost all of them. Shout out to, but it doesn't matter. Oh, look at this list! Holy moly!
People that are short. Oh, your nose is too flat. We're sorry. We're sorry. Your nose is just not shaped right. Got to see a plastic surgeon about that.
Once again, God of love. God of love and mercy, ladies and gentlemen. This is the guy that created the universe. That's right. We are having our chapter review. We just finished Leviticus chapter 21. We had God's rules for priests, and that is going to be our 2 scoops because we're about to hit hour 2. But we're almost done Leviticus, which is amazing. We're amazing. We have been rolling by the Bible. There's a lot to the Bible, but it feels like we're moving fast at the same time. So it's a good mix. Such wisdom. Have you been finding it, James? Did you feel like you're coming away when something is deep and dark in your life? You can just say, and the Lord said unto Moses, speak unto the priests, the sons of Aaron, and say unto them, there shall be none be defiled for the dead among his people. And life is going to be okay. Everything's going to turn out.
Don't go in the morgue. Don't try to fuck a dead body. That's important.
Exactly.
Don't be short. Don't have a fucked up nose. Don't have a damaged testicle. The
important things in life.
Absolutely, yes.
And all right, ladies and
it's time
gentlemen.
to unleash the mimes.
To open up the floodgates. We're on hour 2, which is perfect timing. We're going to have about another hour of open mic so you can tell us what your thoughts are about all of this wisdom that Leviticus has been seeping into us. And unfortunately, all of this fantastic violence that has come from chapters like these. I mean, this is why we and if you don't even want to say violence, just the culture wars, fights over marriage, it bleeds all the way down.
And you should probably not see your aunt or your uncle naked. Just don't do that.
Yes. Once again, though, did we really need a 2,000, 3,000-year-old book to explain all of this? This had to come from the all-seeing, all-knowing creator of the universe.
I don't know. I mean, I guess that was a thing back then, trying to peep on your uncle.
But still nothing about, like, don't own others' property. I don't know if I have to keep on harping on that, but I'm going to keep on
Why would they
harping on
put something
that.
like that in there?
And all right, I'm going to send the link into chat, and
I
then
didn't
we're
see
going to
the super
switch
straight
over
mimes
to the
yet.
fun. The super straight mimes, exactly. Well, that's our lovely outro. We're still having fun, though. I will have plenty of
Oh, don't we
miming
get?
after,
Oh no,
I'm
no,
sure.
no. Oh, you have to do the open mic one. Yeah, I was thinking about the outros. My bad.
And I can see the comments again. So if you would like to see your comment either seen on screen or at least read on screen, don't forget to tag me at Amy Newman. And all right, I'm typing that linky. What do you think of Leviticus overall, James? We're almost at the other side.
It's been a doozy so far. Yeah. I mean, this kind of just has like a lot of the cliche, a lot of like the boilerplate things that a lot of people who talk about the Bible and who who do commentary on the Bible like to bring up. But here we're actually getting the meat and potatoes, the real deal, actual text of what it says when it says the important things in life, like to kill disobedient children, and we got another
Holy
double
moly,
helping
that
of
was
kill the
crazy.
gays, kill the wizards, kill the
They
gays, kill
doubled
the
down.
children. Yeah.
I mean, it's biblically accurate. It's so funny, too, because one of the common apologetics I hear from Christians against Muslims is they're like, well, we're not throwing gays off roofs. And I'm like, yes, but why? Why are you not throwing gays off roofs? Is it because of the Bible? I don't think so. I think it's because you've been secularized. This isn't my land. I'm trying to think who came up with this. It might be from the ACA and all those people, but you've been dragged kicking and screaming.
They've evolved.
Yeah, you've evolved into secular, enlightened society.
Who was that who was saying that? I think Pat was saying that to somebody that they got there not by using the Bible, but by figuring workarounds to get around, basically by evolving, saying, ooh, that looks really bad. We need to find a way that we don't have to endorse that anymore.
That's right, burnt offerings and potatoes. Burn them, put them in a stew. And all right, we have Jamie backstage. Woohoo, we got a theist. But the link is now in chat. I'm going to pin it in YouTube. Though, if you're in Twitch, sending love to all the followers out there. Come on and join. If you're on Facebook, you can join there too. And all right, everybody, we're going into our open mic.
Nope, we got contestant number
How
one.
are you, Jamie? Contestant number one. We are having fun. We have been reading Leviticus and getting our Leviticus on. I hope you are doing well. And what are your thoughts about the chapters or anything we talk about?
Well, I heard you talking about a menstruation, and so I knew you were in Leviticus 19. It should be around there, right?
I knew that.
I came in late because I was talking to somebody on another stream, but I just heard what James was saying, and it sounded like you were saying that we as Christians we have a workaround or whatever. But if you consider go ahead.
No, that you guys are evolving to be compatible with society today. Society today says it's not okay to kill gay people, that they're not harmful to anybody. And so Christians have modified their views and found a way to try to make that compatible with the Bible.
Well, would you agree that Christians, if they're following their religion, they would want to go by what the New Testament says, right?
On most things, yeah.
Shoot. Okay, sorry, for me, you were lagging there for a second.
Yeah. Yeah. It's lagging on my end. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Well, I just said it depends on what law you're talking about. You're talking about the ceremonial law. You're talking about the natural law. I mean, there's different apologetics that Christians use to deal with like different passages in the Old Testament.
Sure. I want to try to be just totally straightforward and honest with you here. I just think,
go ahead.
I just think, like, I take the whole Bible seriously, a lot more so than some Christians tend to. I feel like they, well, with the Old Testament, they kind of don't like to look at it, and I mean, not all of them, of course, and so, and the accusation is that we're secularized, basically. But I mean, we all received the whole scripture as we have it, since the Protestant Reformation. And like, if you look at Colossians, for instance, 2:14, like you kind of sounds like about, is that there was a new covenant promised in Jeremiah in the Old Testament from God, and then it did come when the New Testament came. And the idea is that the ceremonial laws are nailed to the cross, according to Paul, which means they were shadows of things that Christ would fulfill in the parts of the law, meaning so those things are supposed to be they're not the same rule.
Exactly. I totally get where you're coming from with that. Yeah.
In the way I look at the really severe laws, I've heard a couple of things that people have said about it. I won't go into that, but I think part of that idea is that these people were set aside is like extremely strictly because God was trying to bring everything together, is the idea, to bring the Messiah into the world. And it had to be if you can accept that idea, and then you consider what could throw that off course or whatever. And so, because it's got to all be set up for him to learn. I think Jesus had to learn everything. I don't think he was like God trapped in a body. So, anyway.
Amy, you're on mute, Amy. I think she probably wants to chime
but
in
is
here.
this? Oh, I guess this was the chapter that Jamie wanted me to bring up.
Colossians 2.
But is this the apologetic for why menstruating women isn't weird? Or?
No.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I just meant for the idea that the New Testament, like that Christians aren't just secularizing themselves; they're actually following what they're, the text is given, and so that was all I meant by that. And as far as the Old Testament thing, I was just saying, I think God is putting really strict rules, which some people say that's because it's hyperbolic. It's not really like a judicial law, and then other people will say, I'm kind of open on this. I don't know how the best way to look at it is. I think it's better probably to consider it like they were set aside people, and God had to set up a thing for Christ to come up in a certain environment to fulfill the prophets and all that. So, but some people say it's hyperbolic, I guess, or it's kind of just like an extreme.
Talk a lot about circumcision.
Yeah, it's something I'm actually looking at studying next. Sounds to me like the circumcision thing is just like a sign, in the sense that it's like being devoted to God, and then and it kind of points to, I don't know if it's pointing to something to do with Christ being cut off or whatever, like in Daniel's prophecy or not, but or
Christ would be the foreskin. I mean,
no, meaning no, he gets killed. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know if that's.
It does sound weird for a deity to be so concerned with the genitals of the males of his tribe. I mean, I guess if he's God and that's what he wants to spend his time worrying about, okay, but that does seem a little odd.
Well, here's another thing with that sort of thing, right? So I think it's more like we're hypersexualized in a certain sense, and so we think of it as weird like that. But there's another way you can think that, like with the menstruation thing, there's verses where it talks about, you guys have all heard it, I'm sure, like where God says, Christians love to quote it, like your righteousness is like filthy rags. You heard that?
Yeah. Is that in the
So,
Psalms?
I forget, probably.
Okay.
I don't have a computer. I'd look it up
It
real quick.
doesn't matter exactly where it
Yeah,
is.
it does
Yeah,
matter.
I've
But
heard of it.
yeah, the original language actually, and they didn't, in the English they didn't do this just to be less crude or whatever, but it literally is menstrual rags in the original context. And I believe that has something to do with because it comes on a cycle, right? Like monthly, and that's correlates with the cycles of the moon, kind of, like a month, and that's how their festivals came. And there's other verses that talk about God being fed up with their sacrifices, and festivals, because they weren't actually they weren't having a change of heart. And so he's saying, like, he's sick of them just going through the motions and not actually changing and reforming into his ways. So I think there's a tie to that. And so that may be why that ceremonial law exists. Maybe
all
tied
those
to this
ceremonial laws were God's way of teaching and trying to develop his people a certain way, but they weren't working. It just became something that they were going through the motions, like you said, that it really wasn't fulfilling his purpose, his intent with them.
Right. And there's allusions to that in having the new covenant come. It's like you can kind of take a look at it like God is seeing, and God knew from the foundation of the world that Christ would have to fulfill, like the Jews were tasked to like teach the nations about the true God, but God knew the whole time essentially that he was going to have to send, Christ into the world, is what you can kind of read back when you read the whole thing. But yeah, so in essence, like all their laws and stuff are, and this is like, I guess if you didn't believe it was true, you would have to say that they wrote it, that these old books were like setting it up for this. I don't know how you'd explain it, but yeah, it does seem all these things do tie to Christ's ministry, including the festivals, and which were based off events that happened to the Israelites. So, and Paul calls them shadows. So anyways, sorry, I'm talking way too much.
No, we're gonna get Wild Eden here in 1 second. I'll just add that the apologetic I've always heard for like the menstruation laws like that was that, well, God was very concerned with blood. Blood is a way of carrying diseases and everything. God just wanted to be super duper careful that wasn't an issue. People, catching bloodborne pathogens. So therefore, he just made a bright line rule that anybody with any type of blood issue is separated. That way, there's no mistake could be made about that. That's the apologetic I've always heard.
I've heard that too. I just think I was trying to offer something new, and that I think there's more to it than that. But I do think that's part of, I know that like the guy who invented, I think it was Lister. He invented, and he's like, his name's in the Listerine mouthwash. But he kind of like, I believe he invented during or after the Civil War. He kind of figured out what was killing a lot of people or whatever, and it was he claimed that it was from reading the books of Moses and God's rules for
the infections,
for cleanliness, and
makes sense. I'd have to look into that a little bit more. But Amy, you want to get Wild Eden in? Yeah, you with us, Amy? Her browser might have crashed a little bit. She's on another system, so I'm sure when she gets back, we'll get Wild Eden in here. Yeah, I've not heard that before about the Listerine, but it is kind of interesting. You look at like the Civil War, most of the people that died from secondary infections because
and the doctors would go from patient to patient with wiping their hands. They wouldn't wear gloves. They would just they figure a lot of people died just like the surgeries were necessary, obviously, but they didn't understand it in such a way that they would obviously like. So when they finally started to figure out how to disinfect, that like literally dropped the death rate way down.
Oh yeah, I mean, back if you got shot in like the foot or the ankle back then, they would 90% of the time just amputate it because of the risk of infection. Even if they were able to clean it out, it'd probably get gangrene and then, become a much larger threat. You could die from blood poisoning. So they would usually just cut it off. So that was what most of them were doing back then, just taking saws from one patient to the next, cutting hands, feet, arms, legs off. It was a really, really nasty period of time.
It's funny when you look back at the things as medical science advanced that they had like some ideas of kind of what was going on, and they started to kind of figure it out, but they didn't really understand it. Like germ theory wasn't around yet, and
No,
so
it had, yeah.
so you mean that's something you could harp on? Like, couldn't God explain that? And even in the 1800s, there was this theory of miasma, and in a sense, it's kind of, in a way, it's true in a sense, because you can, some illnesses can be passed, through the air, through aerosols, and so in a sense, you know what I mean? I've heard Brett Weinstein talk about this. It's like true enough kind of thing. Like he mentions that like porcupines, people always say porcupines can throw their quills.
Yeah,
And yeah, if you
heard that, never seen it, but I've heard it.
Right. And he said that's not true. He's a biologist, an evolutionary biologist, and he says, that isn't true. They absolutely cannot do that. There's no mechanism for it.
Through the air, yeah.
But because people have thought that, it's helped protect people from that. But so it's like, is that a lie? Yeah, it's a lie, but it's true enough, kind of thing.
So you're not even going to get close to it because you're thinking it could shoot them at you. But if you're not close to it, there's no way you could ever come in contact with it, I guess. Yeah.
And then if you really start pondering that idea, and like our explanations of how we describe things and understand how systems work, even when we see them, especially like under a microscope, it's like we surely don't have every last detail figured out, right? And so, like in the far future, when we understand things even better, will we call what we think now as just a fact? Are they facts? I don't mean to deny facts or put doubt on facts. I just mean it's an interesting question, like what it means for something to be true, and you start to realize.
Well,
there's more to the idea.
So
don't get the wrong impression. I'm not trying to deny truth.
No. Yeah, I mean, here, you have to, all knowledge is provisional, right? Everything we know is built on at some level, there are certain assumptions we have to make that seem to always pan out. Now, if something later on were to undermine one of those, then everything that's built on those would have to be re-understood. But I mean, even on top of that, there's basically very few things that we know with absolute certainty. I mean, you have the principle of fallibilism, that there are things that we know, we just don't have absolute certainty of them, but we can still say that we know them, because you don't really get absolute certainty on very many things, really, ever.
They're not even necessarily wrong. They're just not complete. But just like how we look at Newton's theory of gravity now, and we know that there's problems with it when you get to a certain, but how fine of a detail you're trying to measure. And they had problems with like the I believe it was the orbit of Mercury or whatever.
It was the orbit of Mercury, yeah. And they considered, they thought at first maybe it was the shape of the sun that was causing the perturbation, and they did find that was part of it, but there was this other layer that was relativity that Einstein discovered, and then even then, applying that, we found out that there's a disconnect between Einstein's equations and quantum mechanics that we still don't understand. So whenever we get to the bottom of that, we'll have a much more complete understanding of how the world works. But I think Amy's back, and she wants to get Will in.
Mm-hmm. And all right, time to get Wild Eden in. Woohoo!
Time to get wild, Amy.
Time to get wild.
Hey,
Wild Eden, we have been having fun. We are Skeptic Bible studying, getting our Leviticus on. I hope you're doing well. And what are your thoughts about the chapters or anything we've been talking about tonight?
Hi, folks. Thanks for having me on the stream. Yeah, totally fascinating.
Absolutely.
I was trying to find out who Leviticus was. And apparently the writing was accredited to Moses. Is that correct?
That's who it seems to be.
It's claimed. the
claimed.
purported author is. It was actually mostly written by a guy they call the priestly source, but yeah.
Hello from Scotland, by the way.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
What time is it over there?
It's just after 9:15 in the morning here, Saturday morning.
Woo-hoo.
So, what is it? Late night
It's
for
4 a.m.
you
here.
guys.
Exactly. So it depends on your angle, whether we're super early or super late.
Yeah. Just want to say hello to Jamie. Nice to see him again.
Hello. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine.
Good to hear.
Scotch must be really good over there.
I'm just recovering from the Scotland-England football match.
Who won?
Woo-hoo.
It was a draw, 0-0.
A draw, come
Oh,
on.
that's exciting.
But Scotland still took it as a win.
Woo-hoo. Go local
the other-
sports team.
Go team.
I actually like. I'm gonna say it correctly here, so that Will says
Don't do it, Amy, don't do
the
it.
stream. No, I'll say football. See,
Ah!
there you
Miami
go.
Dolphins.
I can't help it. I guess if you're American, it's soccer, but I like either
Soccer.
one. I like either one. And okay, thank you so much, Wild Ian.
Come on,
And
Amy. Next thing you know, you're going to be using kilometers and grams.
Kilometers,
and,
I know.
you're-
Exactly. Only when I'm weighing things, but that's a different story. And thank you so very much, Wild Eden. And we'll go into open conversation for about 40 more minutes. If you want to join our Skeptic Bible Study, the link is in chat. I think I got to go pin it in YouTube, but feel free to come on and tell us what you think about the chapters we've been reading, or just the Bible in general, or your opinion on tacos. One of those.
I saw Jamie the other day in a stream, and somebody was talking about getting kicked out of Ken Hoven's compound down there for being diabetic. I saw you were on that stream, yeah. So that was funny.
Yeah, it was Alec. He's a guy that hangs out. He's
You
kind
know
of a
him?
friend. I know him online pretty well. Yeah, he's a friend. I don't know. He says some things that I don't agree with. We have doctrinal issues with each other, I guess. Actually, I don't even know what his doctrine is, but we get along. Yeah, he was saying that he was moving and he was going to actually live there, I guess. Kent Hoven's, the property, I guess. And they make you work real
Not
hard.
creepy at all.
Yeah. They make you work really hard, and they were like trying to get a church built, right? And like Alec is like 50, probably in good shape, right? And so, but he was saying he's diabetic and type 1 diabetic, and so they started having issues, and some people accused him of some stuff, but they were like trying to put the roof on this church, and I guess they had some like really big sheets of like sheet metal. I imagine it was probably 60, 0.060 thickness at least or whatever, but they were big pieces, right? So pretty heavy, a couple 100 pounds.
100 to 200 pounds at least, probably.
Yeah, and I guess a piece started sliding off the roof, and then there was a guy standing down there, and somebody broke Hoven's glasses or whatever, and then this guy nearly got chopped in half. Or, I mean, he could have been chopped in half, but
it doesn't sound like a place which is riddled with regulation. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, OSHA probably wouldn't like it.
Yeah, OSHA, the IRS, yeah, but he's had a few issues down there. I mean, then he had that. I don't know if he still has that sex offender running around the compound, and strangely enough, that one child who went missing for a few hours back. Yeah, he had a sex offender on the property. Somebody that in another state, and I guess it was all made up. It was because he's a Christian. The courts made up this lie that he played a game of strip poker with some underage boys, and yeah,
you never can be sure. I mean, as far as someone
sounds a little suspicious to me. But
I would take it seriously. But I mean, there are cases where it is questionable about
times where things get made up. It does happen.
it happens. But yeah, you can't mess around with that and just say they're good because they're a Christian. That Christianity accepts anybody. So, I
I
mean,
also just find it weird, just that whole slowly building. I want to say a cult. They hate the cult word. Can't use the C word. But, he just has
Compound.
people who live with them, who sometimes they get in relationships. He doesn't pay them anything, by faith alone and them working their asses off. Somehow they're able to
right?
live there.
Well, the
Yeah.
guy,
Amazing.
so he got there, and then like I guess you get one day you'll do the tour and everything. The next day, Hovind hands you a hammer and sends you to work, and
That's the one.
yeah, he
Well, it's good
then
for
like
you.
the next day he didn't. He had diabetes issues, so he couldn't go to work part of the day. And then I guess they have a dinner where it's mandatory attendance, and he didn't show up. So after that, they booted him because Hovind needs to make sure he needs to know where everybody is at all times to make sure there's nobody plotting
Not creepy at
anything or
all.
nobody talking about saying bad things about him. So
Yeah, I like. Yeah, I don't disagree with you that it could seem kind of weird, or that those things can be weird or cultish or whatever. But and I'm really not actually even trying to stick up for the guy in this sense. But I mean, you do have to be careful. If you're going to let people stay there, you should keep track of everybody for just safety reasons, because people who have like troubled pasts are going to end up wanting to go there because they don't feel like they have anywhere to go. And so that's the issue with, I would think, would be. But yeah, like, it's just
Well, my
asking for
thing
trouble.
is just, I guess I always question the goodness out of my heart motive. Just,
Right.
I'm sure there is a chance that it's the goodness out of the heart. There is also a good chance that he's like, hey, you, camera 3, can you tilt over there? And sweetie, can you go make me a sandwich? And what? No. The Lord
sexy
told me.
massages. Who does that? I don't get sexy massages from young women.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Alone in
think
my
there's that kind
room.
of thing. I don't think that kind of thing. But I think,
I'm not the owner of
but,
the New England Patriots or anything like that.
but for instance, like the I would say the thing that happened in Waco was, I mean, what do you guys think about that?
The
You're too
Waco.
young, aren't you? Are you too young for that?
No, not me.
Not
I'm
him.
probably older than you are.
He probably that was political for him, and I only hear that now on talk radio, but I don't know what it actually is. So,
Well, it's a thing that
Well,
it's
I
kind of
should
switched
probably
over the
learn.
years.
so
I'm curious.
they were doing they had some gun
It sounds.
violations. So the ATF went there with a warrant, and a
There you
couple
go.
ATF officers got shot while the warrant was being served. So it ended up in a standoff. But the
Oh, these
police
are like
in
it was
Texas.
like an army of Kents, like Taxifists, right?
Yeah, the Branch
Those type of
Davidians.
people.
They're
Yeah.
a sect of radical Mormons.
No,
Like
Stay
so
off my land. It is
they're
your land. Just give
they're
us
actually an
the
offshoot of my tradition.
oh,
They're
really.
they're
one
Seventh Day Adventists.
They were an
Okay,
offshoot way
a
back.
sect of
Yeah, they were
SDAs. Okay, I
really,
thought
but
they were Mormons
they went really like
because they're into
strict.
They went
polygamy,
rogue.
right?
Yeah, it ended up that, yeah, and like kind of a super obsession, because Adventists have an obsession with it too, but super obsession, and then with prophecy, and then this guy, David Koresh was really charismatic, although he wasn't like a really super conservative type. He just like really knew the Bible well, and people were drawn to that, I guess. But he played in a rock band and stuff. But the thing is, come to find out, like that story got really twisted. Like they had licenses to do gun shows. That's one of the ways they made money. And so people came from all around the world to stay there, right? And so there's some really fishy stuff that went down with the ATF. Like, for instance, the where the confrontation started. Oh, by the way, David Koresh would like jog every morning into the town, and like they could have stopped him there and talked to him, but they didn't talk to him ever. And then somebody told him that an ATF guy was asking around about him, and he told the guy to come talk to him and just let him know if they wanted to talk, he could come down, he'd give him a tour and show him their weapons. But they set up a thing with cameras. Like there was a news agent there with a camera. The ATF had 2 cameras, and I think there was somebody else with a camera. All the tapes went missing when it went to court, and the door, the double doors that got where the firing started, went missing. And so they weren't sure who shot first, apparently, right? But it's crazy. Like, it looks like I saw like this documentary on it, and I guess like the Janet Reno like sent in Delta Force on them, and like they blew up a bunch of kids hiding in the basement.
It went to hell. I mean, it was a mismanaged situation, and I mean, could the government have done a better job breaking that standoff up? I don't know. I mean,
I think so. They were playing like
it probably couldn't have gone worse than the way it went, so
exactly.
They probably could have done better, but that doesn't mean that David Koresh wasn't doing anything wrong. I mean, some of the reports about what was going on in that compound are he wasn't a martyr. He wasn't a good guy. He was probably deeply disturbed, mentally ill. But that doesn't mean all his followers were bad people, especially the kids, and a lot of the kids ended up getting killed during that final assault.
Yeah, like it was bad. They like put explosives in it, like totally killed them all. Like
I think they were all on a bus or something.
No, they're like in a basement, and so it appears like they have shots of the from a FLIR camera, and they were shooting them.
Like, they had come up.
Yeah, skulls of the victims went missing, but somebody said like they were just shooting them because they're on fire and stuff. And the kids were like choking to death in that basement because they used like some sort of like military grade tear gas, like the cops
started a fire,
and then the concussion of the explosion to break into the building like just basically blew them all up at once. Horrible, like blew them apart or whatever as they were choking to death. But as far as Leviticus goes, it's a pretty boring section for most people. They usually start reading the Bible and then they get to about there and then they say, okay, I'm done.
I mean, for us, it's been an interesting book because
interesting. Like the wisdom. There are some chapters you didn't expect. You know, there's always the greatest hits. I knew we were going to do the Tower of Babel and all that stuff, but
the chapter about the Dukes in Genesis. Then we got a few chapters in Exodus about the priestly garments. A few chapters about those. So Aaron Rog and his sons got their girdles and their bonnets, and
yeah. So a lot of that does. It's interesting to look some of the correlations to what some of that could symbolize. So it might be fun to like look at some of the commentaries when you're doing it, just to see what they say. You might get something more interest out of it or whatever. Because I know you're coming up on books that a lot of people also will give up because, you know, like Kings and Chronicles and those books are like kind of a repeat of the same stories. Or I guess that's kind of like how Exodus and Deuteronomy are though too.
We're not into Deuteronomy yet, but from the way it was written, I think Deuteronomy was written before Leviticus. So yeah, we probably actually will be going back a little bit because Leviticus
going back to the future.
Leviticus was a later edition.
Right. It's the book of the law, right?
The Levites, which were a priestly class, yeah.
Yeah, you got it. Well, yeah, I mean, it might be a good idea to like read about what the purposes of the books are that have the same information in them. It might help give you a stance on or an outlook on it that helps kind of see the difference.
Well, I'll tell you what, when we get there, if there's any material you want us to look at, you can come on and let us know what you think we should read to get better context.
If we're getting interpretations wrong, just tell us.
I'll just I'll try to keep better track. I would have liked to.
We should probably in the title start putting like the chapter and the book in.
Yeah.
So I thought about that. I feel like I should do it retroactively because I generally know how many chapters we were going to do today, but I want to know, I guess, proactively.
You could do it retroactively,
like in this section, we do Leviticus, chapter 19, chapter 20. We are going in order, though, I will say.
We are in order,
read the last chapter. We're starting off on this chapter. And,
forgive me for not knowing the schedule, but
I don't mean you. I mean the.
Oh, we don't have an official schedule.
I was gonna say that's a completely different story. You know.
Okay.
It'd be impressive. First, I need to know the schedule, which would be a more impressive thing.
I mean,
But
Amy does
eventually.
school. I work. I mean, we've got
You just
things
got to
that.
do it when you can.
And I'm
Yeah.
going to be announcing, so I'll announce this now, but we'll figure out how things work. I think I said this. We'll be doing 3 different summer camps next 3 weeks from Monday to Thursday. And
Oh, you're working at a summer camp?
I am teaching computer science, but they're
Oh.
only like for 2 or 3 hours. The most
That's not
annoying thing
camp.
is I'm going to have to wait. Well, I go 4 days. Yeah, if you think like this is, first of all, this is just getting back to robotics, but it's called a camp. Whatever you want to
Oh,
call
I
it, a
see.
workshop
Okay,
or
my
a,
bad.
but I'm actually able to do robotics. Before we couldn't really do Zoom classes.
Cool.
Robotics, and so now I can actually get some Lego WeDo and you get to do graphical programming and stuff. But we'll figure out how to do.
How to
I think
work
I'm
that
gonna. Yes, we'll figure out. I think still the weekends I'm off on Friday and Saturday, Sunday, and one of those days I'm just gonna figure it out. And we're just gonna go late night anyway, and I'll sleep during the other. Flip my schedule and
There you go.
We could go earlier, like in the week when I'm off. Yeah.
If you can
do
if you
sometimes
guys
get
can
days
do a
off.
schedule, it would probably help. It could help viewers.
It will 100% help. In fact, I think most viewers and watchers want a general schedule. Eventually, hopefully, once this gets even more consistent, shout out to our Patreon, patreon.com/Amy Newman. Thank you, capitalism. We can't help the show. But once that gets done and we get like a studio and permanent things and all that stuff, oh, baby, we want to have like dedicated days, and we have more shows coming, schedule or not. But it tends to be
She's
every
coming
other
for
day.
you. She's coming.
Oh, baby. Or every
day.
Every day, yeah. Sometimes we do patterns of 1 or 2, but for the most part, it's every other, or sometimes we take 2 days off. Blah, 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 blah.
So we'll be back tomorrow for the big
We'll be
party,
back tomorrow for the big debate.
Matt Dillahunty debate.
That's right.
Kenny
That's
Rhodes.
right, Jamie.
Kenny Rhodes.
Matt Dillahunty.
He's my new friend. Kenny Rhodes is
Rhodes?
cool. He's a really nice guy. Yeah.
So you'll be watching.
He's not
debate?
a young Earth creationist either, but he's a professor.
Old Earth. He's a Smoky Saint creationist.
Yeah, Smokey's my friend too, but they're they know each other as well.
Yeah, I see you on his channel. You on mute again, Amy?
That's right, folks. Look at that, live in 15 hours. Matt Dillahunty versus Dr. Kenny Rhodes. Can you see it?
I see it. Yeah.
There you go, baby. And so we will be running an after show on this debate. Is there good evidence for God? Probably be another midnight one, another late night, though earlier than we went tonight. So it'll go from 8. Matt generally is pretty good on taking long. He's not a Ken Hovind. He doesn't generally dip. He likes the questions. So I think we'll see what Dr. Kenny Rhodes' schedule is.
As long as the people in the chat are being nice to him, he likes it. If people say mean things in the chat, he kind of gets flustered. And we love Matt, but
it is that's one of his weaknesses, that and his temper. I'm actually a big fan of Matt. I actually think he's a really good debater. I know he
is a good debater.
Gets a lot of shit. So I'm actually sending love. I hope he does pretty well. Tomorrow night, I'll send him. I'll be inviting him. I'll be inviting Dr. Kenny Rhodes and anyone who wants to talk about, is there evidence for God? Tomorrow's the time to show it. We're doing.
Tomorrow's the day to show it, Amy.
Tomorrow's the day to show it. Pull it out.
Which what they've all been wanting to see.
I have a problem with Dillahunty's usual way of responding on this topic, but hopefully Kenny will put his feet to the fire. I think I do think Matt can be a good debater. I think on this thing though, he just tends to like. I like it better when he's doing a debate where he it formulates an argument ahead of time, kind of thing. I guess. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. It just feels like it's kind of like in lack theism denial mode, I guess.
See, I think he actually works well in the atheist experience because he can do good cop, bad cop. I think sometimes you need
Yep.
to know when to drive pressure. Sometimes you need to
So,
know when to.
what you don't like, Jamie,
So
when
both.
he's not taking the burden, he's just sitting off to the side and rejecting whatever is presented to him. You like it more when he has an actual position to defend.
Exactly. Because when he does, I think he does. I think he can be persuasive in those cases. But I'm basically just fed up with the whole atheism thing. I've had a problem with it pretty much from the beginning. Yeah.
I get that. That's a triggering thing for a lot of Christians. They spend a lot of time on that.
Well, that's because for me, to be totally honest, not that wouldn't want to be normally, but it's that I'm just trying to emphasize here that it really
Tell
is
us how
about.
you really feel.
It's about right. It's about. I want to hear the best arguments. I think lactheism is a really not a good argument. I would recommend that if you want to be an atheist, you should assert that you believe God does not exist, rather than lacking a belief. Because I don't know that people often understand like the philosophical position that is it's not really atheism and it's not really a position. It's kind of like it feels like I should say technically it's not an argument. Let's say.
What can I feel when I say what that feels like to me? Even though I'm actually more towards. Even though James and I lead longer towards the stronger. That feels like what you're saying is I'm tired of people trying to shove the burden of proof back onto me. I want them to say there is no gods and here's my evidence versus it's not almost always Jeebus. It's always like these philosophical arguments that are over.
It's very difficult in any concept to prove a negative. So that's kind of a burden that virtually nobody can bear. I mean, to try to prove something doesn't exist. I mean, prove that Hare Krishna doesn't exist. You can't. I mean, he's in another dimension. You can never get there anyway,
Well, that's a common idea, but the reality is apparently that according to the philosophers or whatever, atheists and non-atheists alike, you basically always have a burden of proof if you're taking a position. And so I understand the difference between a negative and a positive idea, but it's still an assertion if you're going to claim atheism, because atheism is the opposite of theism, right? It's not just lacking theism. It's literally, the opposite of. And so most atheists that are saying they just lack a belief, they really just mean they're a type of agnostic, technically speaking. And because there's so many problems with calling atheism.
This sounds like Steve McRae. I hate it.
Yeah, Steve McRae is right. I like Steve McRae.
I bet you do.
Well, he's right. He's right. Unless you can show me he's wrong. I mean, I'd love to hear an explanation of why he is incorrect.
Sure. It's just he's an atheist. He lacks belief in a God. I don't understand where, you could say that is.
It's what you believe and
what you believe.
know.
And if he wants to call him an agnostic, that's fine. But he's a non-believer. He just doesn't believe in a God.
He's a non-believer. Yep.
Fit into the category of agnostic atheist. We're not coming out and saying we know for certain that there is no God, nowhere, no how in this universe and in the multiverse, whatever that's in. There's no God in there. And most of us just aren't making that assertion. We just haven't seen any evidence for a God.
Right. So technically, you are an agnostic. And if you're
agnostic
not going to make
atheist, yeah.
Well, but the thing is, that doesn't really logically line up, because if you're agnostic, it means you're undecided. So to be an agnostic atheist would be like, I can't even think. I'm really tired, but. If you go to Steve McRae's The Great Debate community website. He
Does
showed
anybody
a
go
bunch
there
of-
anymore?
Well, if you look at the arguments, they're actually his content's quite good. It's quite accurate, I would say. But I don't know. I get why you would kind of be irritated with him because he seems like he's fighting atheism and he's a non-believer. But I mean, I would
Feels
just
like
encourage you.
I call him deck chairs. That's generally my thing because to me, he is like on the Titanic and he's trying to reorganize deck chairs while everyone else is like, no, 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 the ship is sinking. And he's like, we should talk about
like
the difference between agnostic and atheism. I'm like,
he's playing he's in the violin in the band playing the violin, you know, like, and he's like saying your note is a little bit off.
And I hear Randolph in the back of my head saying there's really bad things about him, but I can't, I don't know those. I wasn't part of his community or Randolph's community enough to know that, but I have to say that TM Randolph.
Just based on what you do know of him, he's
well,
yes.
I don't know Steve, but he's seems to be trying to be honest in my opinion. So, but of course you could say I'm biased, but I can't find him being dishonest, and I mean he used to be really harsh on.
I don't know him well enough to.
So he's nice to me. I don't know.
I'm sure he is, Jamie.
I went on his stream once, and I got the full spiel that he gives. That reminds me a little bit of Darth Dawkins-y.
I was just thinking that Darth Dawkins kind of logic,
and I kind of just like, okay, you do that, and then I just never came back. Because once again, goes back to deck chairs. But
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
It's like trying to make a legalistic argument and put everything into strict legal terms. It's kind of like debating with, if you've ever debated with like a traditionalist Catholic. I mean, they have like a very rigid, very legalistic way that they look at things and they adjudicate things, and everything has to be just so. But I don't really think most people operate that way in terms of
I disagree
their
with his. I agree with Matt's view on the gumball analogy. I do think you shouldn't make a position if you don't know, which is their crux. Which is so funny. That stupid gumball analogy is basically what McCrae and the other side of the atheist community, whatever you say, argues over. But I feel like if you have a gumballs and you don't know if they're even an odd,
well, it works. Well, I think it's like a proof of the positions, right? Because like you know that the answer is odd or even, but
true. There is a God or there isn't.
Right. That's true. And so people say, well, then there's no agnostic or whatever. But that's not true. That you're taking the non-position. It makes a lot of sense. If you're not convinced of there being a God, but you're not. I think it's just like a safe position, I guess, or it makes more sense. I just think black theism is technically agnostic, and so I always say it's like people wanting.
That's why theists are so good at PR. The PR terms, I can't help myself.
But here's the thing: there's problems with these made up definitions and redefinitions of atheism, to where you get like absurd outcomes based on the definitions. And he's actually trying to help.
But if he's the minority view,
well, not with the technical literature.
Standard Oxford Dictionary.
Most atheists are perfectly happy to admit we don't have absolute certainty, but we don't hold a belief. So,
also Jamie, all the teasing, I want you to know, I still heart you.
If I was in the position where I don't have a belief in a God, but I really strongly feel that there is a good possibility that there is a God somewhere, I just don't know who or where or what one, which kind or whatever, I might then consider the label of agnostic, because I don't know, but I'm kind of thinking that there could be, but I'm not really in that category. I'm thinking that there's probably not, and I'm still open. If there's evidence, I'd like to see it, but I'm not holding out much hope that there's out there. But I'm not saying absolutely 100% could not be, like 97%, 98% sure, but yeah.
See, and the last thing I'll say about it, but one of the problems I think that happens is literally like atheists will say things, and I've watched him like interview recently, like an atheist that's really popular or whatever, and a lot of people like want to go on there to challenge him, and then he basically shows them why what they're saying doesn't make sense, and then it becomes like this issue of like, oh, I just want to talk to people, and it's like, but the problem is that like the people that say that, they'll make assertions about their position, and it's not really being honest in the sense that they're like, at one point, if it's like good for their argument, or they think it's good for their argument, they'll say certain things, make assertions that don't that are not in line with other assertions that they end up making when they're backed into having to answer a question. So it's like 1 second they're an agnostic and they're just not sure or not convinced, and then the next second you're saying, oh, God doesn't exist, like it's like fairies or something. And like it's like, look, you're either agnostic or you think you have good reasons to think God doesn't exist. It's like an honesty thing for me, I guess. I mean,
It depends on the person and why they are what they believe, because you can have bad reasons for being an atheist, or an agnostic, or whatever the label it is that you choose. I have like a 3-tone label that is agnostic, atheist, anti-theist, as much as I love you and all theists. But I feel like I can defend that string of labels, and I feel like each one means a different thing.
It's like a descriptor of like the way people, they're like their juxtaposition to theism kind of thing. Like, is it extreme or not extreme, or like kind of open? And I think those labels make sense in that context. Yeah, that's fine. It's not going to die on this hill or anything. I just
exactly. Well, and I sometimes feel like people have a label battle, though definitions are important, and so it's.
I mean, on the other side, a lot of times, then it sounds to us like most of what we hear from the Christian side is a lot of really arguments just for a basic deism. You see it all the time. You talk to like someone like John Maddox or Tangelo, and most of what they say is just very vague deistic type arguments that if they tie it to Christianity, it's not in their opening spiel. It's several layers away.
Which is funny, because you don't find many deist apologists. I guess if you don't think that a God is going around doing anything, you don't need to go around spreading it. But I can't think off the top of my head of any like deist circuit apologists.
See, I think if you guys were in the 1700s, you'd be deists, because deism was more like a thing when people didn't feel like they had any way of explaining
creation.
Possible.
It's very possible, because they didn't know very much. They could rule out Christianity due to, I guess, logical contradictions or things they didn't like in it, but they couldn't rule out any God, because there were a lot of things we didn't know back then.
Exactly, and it just seemed like magic that all these living creatures and whatever, right? So yeah, there's a lot of cultural context. One thing you guys said earlier that I just remembered, I wanted to mention something. You were saying that Christianity is kind of like given up on some of the things the Bible said. I think I showed a good reason to think that that's not just like cherry picking. The text seems to teach that. But let's say you're saying that the secularism was influencing Christianity, and there's a sense that that's true, to cultural Christianity or whatever. But I would actually argue that most people have no, and I don't know that much about it, but I know enough to know I can see people don't realize they're missing something, that Christianity really has built our whole culture, like in the sense of influence and like our justice system, our culture, and like even our just disposition about like what we expect from other people.
Roman culture kind of based our whole. But here's one of my main examples to why it is the secular driving, I think. What is your opinion on gay marriage? And it's not a trap question, but it is.
It's mixed. I thought that so like I'm an advocate that the state and the church need to be separate really strongly, and so there's a sense where I don't like the idea that the state's going to redefine like an institution that's been defined a certain way. And obviously, I believe God instituted it. So in that sense, yeah, I have a problem with it. But I also have a problem with like not letting people make their own decisions. And so I was basically in favor of letting people have civil unions, and I wished that they just could have called it something else. So that was my position, I guess I would say. But I wouldn't want the state like opposing people from getting married that were gay. I would just say I don't like the idea of redefining an institution that God made.
What about adopting children or something like that for gay couples? What do you think about that?
Well, if I'm totally like fair-minded on that, obviously I have a biblical view of the family, but you could make the case that there could be like a circumstance where that would obviously be better for a kid, depending on like the circumstance of like how many kids are being taken out of abusive families. Like, is it really better for a kid to be in an abusive family that has straight parents than the gay parents? So I don't know that I could argue against that, but in principle, right, I would think there's some, and this isn't even necessarily a Christian argument, but that parents, there's something, even if you believe in evolution, that there's a role that each sex plays in a family, right, to develop children. But I don't know.
Sure. So you'd have a more pragmatic approach. Like, it wouldn't be ideal, but we see unideal things all the time.
Right.
And so even if I were, because that almost sounds middle ground to me, but don't you think that is not, even that isn't biblical? I guess my point is, we're sitting here talking about marriage, but the rule is, we just read today, does it all get washed away? You were trying to show us that one passage. I mean, how does it go from kill gays to civil marriage or civil union or whatever you want to call it? Isn't that even that?
Well, so my view of what God is doing with the world is that I believe in free will. So I think one of the reasons I think trying to say, like, for instance, in the tradition I grew up in, they're like really strongly against church and state, combining. And so like there was a thing where that people wanted to make like a Sabbath law or whatever through the Capitol. And
Are you a lifelong
like,
Seventh Day? Are you always been Seventh Day?
Yeah, I went to all the schools growing up and stuff.
You were raised in? Okay, all right.
Yeah, so there's a strong thing because I won't go into it, but it makes sense to me anyways. So I think God is like allowing free will to take place. And so you might ask, like, I'm trying to just stay on point here and I'm trying to think of where to start, but Satan, why did God allow Satan to live, right? You might ask that question because like all the suffering
needed an adversary. It would have been a much more boring story without a devil.
God is a weird concept to me only when I pair it with the like creator and the all-powerful, all-knowing, all these sorts of traits, because just like that Pharaoh that got his heart hardened, it just looks like God is pulling the strings. I don't understand why he exists if not to play a part for...
Well, so there's different interpretations on that as far as what's going on there with Pharaoh. So like the Calvinists are saying God's, the determinism is true, right? A type of determinism. And it depends on which Calvinist you talk to, right? Some are more strictly, much more deterministic. But someone like me who believes in libertarian free will, and other Christians that do that don't have that kind of tradition or background, think that they look at that verse like, because earlier in that chapter or that section, Pharaoh's heart was already hardened, right? And so I read it to say like this, like God knows that Pharaoh is like going to oppose what he's trying to do, and he's like he's very stern in opposing that. God knows that that's the case, and knowing that, he pushes against him, kind of like if you're arguing with someone and you know they're not gonna submit, but you're still gonna make your point, kind of thing. So he's like, God knowing what he's about to tell Moses to do is just gonna further harden Pharaoh's heart, and so that's what it's saying. It's like
I'd
God
have to look, but I think it was God who hardened his heart
I
first.
think all the times.
Well,
At least in the King James.
Okay, well, so like if I'm gonna like come up against you in an argument on something I know your position on, I'm pretty sure it's Pharaoh's heart is already hardened, and then God hardens his heart. But I could be wrong, but it doesn't really matter because it's like this. It's like if I know how you're gonna react, then you can say it like I'm doing this to you because I'm coming at you knowing how you're gonna respond, and so you can read it in that sense. You know what I mean? It's not like deterministic. It's that you're so I mean you can call that. I mean, if I know how you're gonna respond and then I push your buttons, who made you react that way? Was it me or is it you? So I mean, it's kind of like a hard question, really.
It's like the Calvinist, like Will would say that God's making you do it, but you also consented to it. He didn't force you. You went along with it willingly, but yeah.
Right. So yeah, exactly. That's the sort of thing. They'll just want to emphasize that because it fits their soteriology, in general. But whether or not they're doing that just to support their own view or not, I think they're being honest with the text. That's just their worldview or whatever, their philosophy. But and that's fine. But as far as what I was going to say about the allowing those things and kind of why I take that position, even though it seems anti-biblical, I'm trying to be not be pushy about it. But I mean, like I think all those things are breaking, like it's sin. Okay, so but would I want to stop you from doing it? No, because I think you should be free to do it. I think God didn't destroy Lucifer because he's literally allowing all these things to like play out, because it'd be like Minority Report if he just killed Satan right away. People would be like, they wouldn't know if they could trust God. So he's literally like doing it to prove his own character, I would say. And so in the same sense, I would want to like let people be free to live their lives, and then try to warn them that I think it's wrong or whatever, let's say, but I wouldn't want to stop them. So when you're talking about enforcing laws from the government down, I'm not so sure I want to just like, totally try to block people from making that decision. Growing up, it's really easy to hate people when you don't ever know any of them.
Right.
And you meet some of the people and then you soften your view a little bit. So I actually think that's the case. And so I don't know. My friends wouldn't like it, I'm sure.
Like that's like the ending point where I was, like when I was on the end of my Christian journey, was like, if you personally came up to me at the time and asked my opinion, I would have said, yeah, it's wrong to be gay. The Bible says that. But I would have said most of them aren't coming up to me. They don't want to know my opinion. So why am I going to tell them what they can or can't do? I'm just a regular guy. I'm not going to go into people's bedrooms and tell them what they can or can't do. So it's really like kind of like a libertarianism, I guess, is where you end up at. Like technically it's not allowed, but I'm not in charge of enforcing that. So you know what? If you want to do it, do it.
Yeah, if I'm honest, you might catch me like talking to somebody else in some other room, and I might not be so nice about it, I guess. But I try to be consistent, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I would say that you probably really do in your heart feel that it is really bad, that when God says it's an abomination to him, it really is that. But at the same time, you try to be, or at least try to be kind and polite to people. You don't seem to try to go out of your way to, be offensive or whatnot.
Yeah, it doesn't seem very productive usually. Like I try to save that kind of attitude for, anything done out of emotion or whatever is kind of dumb, in the sense that where you're not in control of yourself. But sometimes I think I'm too soft sometimes, and maybe that's not good. But yeah,
you just need to be to channel Smokey a little bit and just go off, go wild.
Yeah, he's a good influence on me to not be too much of a puss. I always joke, it's probably my testosterone levels. I had a testicle removed, so maybe that's the problem.
Oh well, in that case, you wouldn't be able to be come to the altar in Leviticus because
Apparently,
that,
yeah, I know, right? Well,
Yep,
Daniel
that
was
was
yep,
one of
reading
yep.
it. So.
that was one of the requirements. I guess you had to Aaron Ra's sons had to inspect you before you came up.
Yeah, I forget what that's all about. But yeah, I did know that. Although God did
Nobody
use Daniel.
short with a messed up nose. Basically, anybody that's not like an ideal physical condition. Praise God.
Yeah, like well, they couldn't serve in the temple or whatever in the sanctuary.
I guess
Is that
not.
what it said?
It looks like we lost Amy for a second. She'll be, yeah, they couldn't serve in the sanctuary. They couldn't approach the altar. It was very, very holy. You have to understand. And, God is very, very holy. He's a holy God. He wants to make sure people know that. And in fact, he has angels, the seraphim, who do nothing but float around him in the throne room all day, every day, forever, saying, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. You would think they would say the whole universe is, but at the time they thought the whole universe was the earth. So they went with the earth because, I guess the Andromeda galaxy, all the other billions of galaxies, his glory is not in there. It's in here. His glory hole that Amy likes to frequent
Well, it wouldn't
from
Oh
time
mean
to time.
my.
it wouldn't have meant much to them if he said more, would it?
No, it wouldn't have,
That would
but
have been confusing. Imagine if you're one of
yeah,
them back then and he says all that, you'd be like, what is that? And then you know what would happen? If he had mentioned it, then that would have come down through the ages to the real you now. And then someone like me would have been saying, well, look, the Bible predicted Andromeda and all this stuff that they couldn't have possibly known about. And then you'd say, oh, we just call that Andromeda because people who believe in the Bible, uh, you know, took the name that of this thing and they said in scripture. And so that's not a prophecy at all. That's just what came down to us. So if he did put it in there, there wouldn't be anything there for you to be impressed by, right? Do you get my argument?
I mean, it would have to be specific enough that it couldn't be random. I mean, like Christians, they'll say, like Ken Hovind loves to say, "Oh my gosh, look! It says all the time that God stretched out the heavens, and now we look at the Hubble redshift, and God told us all along that universe was expanding. It's amazing. God predicted it." It's like, well,
Right.
that's
It
not
says
really very clear enough
okay.
to.
Okay, here's a really interesting thing that maybe you've never thought about. So like what you just said, right? It's kind of vague. I actually agree with you, to be honest. Okay. I mean, because it's just saying God like made everything, right? And so it's just like stretching it out. It's like he laid it out. It's just a linguistic thing, right? It
Yeah,
doesn't really
lay it out, Amy.
say much, right? So, but like I said, yeah, if it said too much detail, you just assume that um as we developed as a culture that we just borrowed the language from the Bible if it said more, right? And then it would just be, oh, we're just speaking in the language of our cultural book. And so there's kind of like a fine line with prophecy. If it's too specific, like if it said, James W will be born, blah 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 blah, right? And then you just think, well, my parents saw that in the Bible and then named me that because I was born on that day, and so it wouldn't be a prophecy at all, right? So you can't say too much, but if you say too little, it's not really much of a prediction, right? But so it's like a fine line, I guess.
I guess. I mean, maybe not that specific because the anti-apologetic for the Jesus thing is that, well, the people who wrote the stories, they knew what the Old Testament said, so they worked their stories around that so that it would be consistent because so it would look like it was fulfilling prophecies, which
And all right,
is a valid
guys.
critique.
With that,
Yeah, go ahead.
we're gonna bring in the mimes.
The super straight mimes.
The super, yeah. Don't look on their Grinder accounts. But besides that, we've been having fun. We have been having a skeptic Bible study, getting our Leviticus on, and we are moving into our woohoo! Wild Eden, we've
Hi
been
there.
having a great time. We're almost at the other side of Leviticus. I hope you had a fun time. Where can people find you, and what are your final thoughts?
I just wanted to say I feel an outsider in both the atheist and theist communities because I come from a totally different perspective and background. My background's in Tibetan Buddhism. I've been a Buddhist since the year 2000. So you mentioned labels earlier on, so I feel a total misfit.
Welcome aboard.
I just think it would be good to have another perspective because the world's a huge place, billions of people, lots of history, and it's. I mean, there's religions and faith that are much older than Christianity and just as valid, as if not more valid, in my opinion. And I would sum up Buddhism in one word, and that is compassion.
Were you a Christian before, or were you atheist?
No,
before?
I was never brought up as a Christian. Although Britain is traditionally Christian based, but my parents weren't churchgoers, so I sort of grew up in a secular society.
Okay.
That's awesome. And hey, we actually like differing views, and we want as many theistic positions actually on here as we can get. So welcome aboard. And we call ourselves Misfits. You will fit right in on there.
Yeah, sure. Thanks,
And
Amy.
okay.
Appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thank you so very much, Wild Eden. And all right, Jamie Russell, we have been having fun. Yeah, like I said, we want to get more theistic perspective, especially we're having our fun Bible study. I hope you had a good time. Exactly.
We don't necessarily always want an atheist circle jerk. Go ahead.
Not always. That's fun sometimes, but no, you want that fresh world of perspectives so we can actually understand different worldviews. And speaking of different worldviews, Jamie, I hope you had a good time. Where can people find you? What are your final thoughts?
Yeah, I don't have a channel or anything. I'll probably start one soon, but I'm in the middle of a move, and I'm kind of tired, and I didn't have much to say of any value. But I kind of feel bad that I didn't try to say something to Eden. I'm on a phone, so it's not as obvious to me that everybody's who's there. So I kind of feel bad about that. I apologize for that. If I had thought of it, I would have tried to be more conversational and included her in talking with you guys. But I appreciate your time, and maybe next time I want to talk to you about try to give you a better thing from the Bible that might be hard to explain. See what you think, but save it for next time.
Moving, so that's why you're on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have a computer set up right now. So
computer set up. Okay.
I'm gonna get another computer here soon, and be able to do that. I think then I'll be able to start a channel. But
well, moving's a pain in the ass, but once you're through it, it'll be worth it.
Heck yeah.
Amy might be moving soon.
And thank you so very much, Jamie. Oh, there you go. And okay, James, time to land the plane. We have been having fun, Skeptic Bible studying. I'm handing you the keys.
So we had a little late start tonight, later than usual, but still some fun-filled Leviticus chapters on who to execute, who to stone, naughty things that God doesn't want you to do. A few of them make sense, but a lot of them don't. We don't necessarily want to be killing kids and getting back with the killing gay people, but at least they don't apply that today. So we will be back tomorrow night for the big party, the big celebration after the Matt Dillahunty debate. So do not miss that, because we will be back in less than 24 hours. Get that set up. Amy's getting that set up tonight.
Set that timer, folks. It's going to be a big one. And all right. Thank you so very much, James. I hope you
Jamie
all...
left.
Oh,
Get
oh,
the-
yes. Yes.
Good night, Jamie.
I hope you all had a fun time on this night's episode of our Skeptic Bible Study. You can find the lovely hardcover right there. Wizards, death, and priestly rules. Run, Harry, run!
Run, Gizmo.
Where God commanded us to hunt wizards or witches. Finally, when we're hunting people, we get to be gender neutral and fair. That's not how nice of them.
Kill them both. Yeah.
Put both.
Let God sort them out.
Let God sort them out. Put gays and others to death. Then we got an extra scoop of rules for our priests. I want to thank my co-host, James W., with our guests, Jamie Russell and Wild Eden, along with our viewers and the lovely people in chat and our mods who make this stream so
Thanks,
great.
guys.
If you'd like to support the show making more fun content, feel free to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman. I'm Amy Newman. We will see you all on the next episode of Skeptic Ball Z.
Yay!
Inner tubes.
The inner tubes.